Chapter 308. The current ranking situation. Feng Si, 6th District, ranked 11th, Xian Tian, 6th District, ranked 169th, Li Baibai, 360th District, ranked 1032nd. Jiang Xiai, 101st District, ranked 3rd. With such a result, Cangyin Sect's sect master, Wu Kuei, and the group of primordial soul elders were already grinning from ear to ear. Everyone had long expected Feng Si to be able to rush to such a position. What surprised them the most was the appearance of Jiang Xi's trio. In the beginning, when they discovered the youth with saber intent, they were already very surprised. Because Xian Tian's identity information showed that he came from the Kanglin planet. Then, Jiang Xi's sudden outburst attracted their attention. He had 2 rare Dao domains, and they were both at the perfected state. Such a genius made Wu Kuei and the group of primordial soul elders boil with excitement. Because with Jiang Xi's Dao technique strength, he had a high chance of breaking into the top 3,600 in the finals. Perhaps even the top 1,000. The remaining Li Baibai, although a little less surprising, was at least close to the top 1,000. Most importantly, these 2 people were the same as Xian Tian, from the Kanglin planet. This was the Cangyin sect's headquarters. The cultivators of the Kanglin planet shining in the 9 regions genius tournament would bring glory to the Cangyin sect. Not counting Feng Si, who was already prepared, Jiang Xi's trio was a complete surprise. Could it be that the Cangyin sect, which had been humiliated for 50,000 years, was now going to rise? Everyone was looking forward to it. In the blink of an eye, 20 days had passed. There were less than 100,000 people left in the 101st district. The speed of elimination was getting slower and slower. This was because after so many days and countless battles, the contestants who were still alive would not be too weak. It was not that easy to kill them. It was very difficult for people of similar strength to kill the other party. Only by completely overwhelming the other party could one easily kill the other party. Of course, Jiang Xi's strength was not as simple as crushing a perfected nascent soul. His 2 rare Dao domains were both at the perfected state. Coupled with his special grade sword intent, his strength was definitely at the top of this district. Therefore, he was ranked 3rd. There were 2 more people in front of him. Jiang Xiai was also puzzled. In terms of killing speed, who could compare to him? With a thought, a light panel appeared in front of him, displaying his current ranking. Participant, Jiang Xiai, Cerulean Star Region, Zone 101, points, 3, 9 billion ranking, 3 number of participants, 98235, with the ranking points removed, there was a total of 3. 9 billion. The reason why he had so many points was because of the rule that he could get half of the opponent's points by killing them. As time passed, the surviving contestants gained more points as time went on. Killing a single person was equivalent to killing 100,000 people. How many people had he eliminated? Although I have a lot of points, only 7. 56 million people were eliminated by me. Remove only 7. 56 million people. Jiang Xiai himself found it hard to believe this number. He received 380 EXP for 1 kill. If converted to experience points, it would be almost 2.9 billion. Therefore, the decision to participate in this competition was the right one. He looked at his remaining experience points. Experience, 374. 325 million more than 3.7 billion. Jiang Xi's depressed mood was swept away, and his ambition was soaring. There are less than 100,000 people left, but each of them has a lot of points. I have to pay attention later. I can't be killed by others, and then see if I can fight for first place in the district. With a thought, another light panel appeared in front of him. Participant, Mu Ning, Cerulean Star Region, Zone 101, points, 4.5 billion. Ranking, 1 number of participants, 98205, the ranking information was public, and everyone could find it in the Tongtian River map. 4.5 billion points, it's this monster. My Gale domain and Distant Fire domain combined are not as fast as his killing speed. Jiang Ci even suspected that this person was a cheat. Unfortunately, in these 20 days, he had not met this person called Mu Ning. After all, everyone was busy killing people. My points are less than 600 million away from his. There's still a chance. Jiang Ci's eyes were burning. The first place in the district could directly obtain a spot in the finals and did not need to participate in the round robin. Of course, with his strength, even if he participated in the round robin, he was confident to get a spot in the finals. But to be safe, it was definitely better to get it early. If something unexpected happened in the round robin, it would not be good. Thinking like this, suddenly, Jiang Ci's soul sense found movement. There was a battle more than 600 kilometers away. His figure swayed and flew in that direction. There are 23 people fighting, and I don't know how many are hiding in the dark. Now that everyone was in the perfect nascent soul realm, once their aura was restrained. Unless there was a special detection method or a soul sense beyond the nascent soul realm, it was possible to find the hidden people. So now there were less than 100,000 people left, and it was getting harder and harder to kill. The probability of a large-scale melee was also greatly reduced. It was no longer possible to kill thousands or tens of thousands of people at the same time like in the beginning. Many people were hiding and waiting to reap the benefits. They wanted to wait for others to fight to the end before coming out to take advantage of the situation. At this stage, Jiang Ci did not act arrogantly. Before he got close to the place where the battle was happening, he restrained his aura. In the sky above a great swamp surrounded by clouds, 23 people attacked without being divided into factions. Whoever got close would be killed. Boom! 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 All kinds of energy exploded, clouds surged, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. If not for the fact that this world was very sturdy, the mountains would have collapsed and the earth would have cracked under such power. 19 of them have ordinary Dao domains, and their comprehension level is more than 60%, 4 of them have rare Dao domains, but none of them have more than 30%. Jiang Ci felt the domain power coming from those people and instantly made a judgment. It was obvious that the 4 people who had comprehended rare Dao domains were stronger. However, these people's strength was similar, and they did not form a crushing momentum. It was impossible to end the battle quickly. Oh? Jiang Ci's gaze focused. At this moment, he saw a barefoot shepherd boy wearing a straw hat and a short shirt appear in another direction of the great swamp. The shepherd boy held a bamboo flute in his hand and stepped on the void, breaking through the clouds. Mu Ning. In the sky above the great swamp, those who were fighting were immediately terrified and wanted to escape. However, they realized that they could not move. The power of a perfect domain bound them tightly. Everyone, why don't you listen to me play a song? Mu Ning had an innocent smile on his face. The bamboo flute played. The melodious and light flute sound seemed to tell a beautiful story as it floated above the great swamp. An invisible domain power accompanied the flute sound as it floated out, suffusing with vitality. Those who were bound only took a breath before their eyes turned slack and they finally disappeared. They were dead. Vitality could save people, but it could also kill. Special Dao Technique, Life Domain. Chapter 309. Fuck. Jiang Ci was shocked. This freak, no wonder he was killing people faster than him. A song accompanied by a Dao domain that spread out for 1,000 kilometers could kill everyone within this range. Suddenly, the sound of the flute became passionate and spread out from the sky above the swamp. Plop, plop. Hundreds of figures fell from various hidden places and died. Humph. Jiang Ci snorted coldly. The wind was like a blade, circling around him. Woo, the sharp whistling sound drowned out the sound of the flute. It also blocked the strange power of the life domain. Not bad. In the past half a month, only you can block my dream-seeking song. Mu Ning stepped on the void barefoot and came in front of Jiang Ci. They were about 100 kilometers apart. Maybe I don't like this song. Jiang Ci's expression was serious. Oh? Then another song. I have a new song, Full Moon Song. Mu Ning's eyes lit up. His innocent face had a sincere expression, making people have a good impression of him. However, Jiang Xi was not fooled. The innocent shepherd boy in front of him had killed more people than him. Forget it, I don't like to listen to songs. Let's compete in sword techniques. Then let's wait until the end to decide the victor. Mu Ning waved his hand and moved lightly, floating in another direction. Jiang Xi was afraid of Mu Ning. Mu Ning was naturally afraid of Jiang Xi too. Neither of them had the confidence to kill the other. Now that it was not the final moment, neither of them wanted to fight to the death. There were less than 100,000 people left, and the points of the top few were very close. Anyone had a chance to get first place. The two of them retreated. Their first meeting was outside the Skyspan Mountain River diagram in the Pale Blue Star region, causing a huge uproar. This is the first face-to-face confrontation between Mu Ning and Jiang Xi from District 101. This Mu Ning is too crazy. Listening to his song can kill people. Riverward only used one Dao domain just now. There's still one more he hasn't used. Although the two of them didn't really make a move, I can tell that they are both afraid of each other. Other than these two, the other people in Zone 101 are also very abnormal. Who will be the final champion? Division 101 was the most eye-catching division in the Kanglan Star Zone. The few people at the top of the rankings were obviously a level higher than the contestants in the other regions. Jiang Xi, Mu Ning, Mo Tianba, Dual Gun Tycoon, Cheng Yu, and Wang Jinyuan. All of them had perfected Dao domains. Mu Ning, in particular, had a special Daoist art that was extremely powerful. Due to the rule of obtaining half of the opponent's points for killing someone, anyone could get first place. Therefore, everyone was looking forward to these few people fighting to determine who was the better one. What a strange attack. I've really met my match this time. Jiang Duda's eyes widened. Martial Granduncle will definitely win. The Wen siblings were filled with confidence. Jiang Gu will definitely get first place. Shen Wansi supported him even more brainlessly. Another week passed. The division battles had already been going on for 27 days. There were only 3 days left. There were only 10,000 people left in Zone 101. Jiang Xi is here. Run! In the sky above a mountain forest, more than 10 contestants who were fighting immediately scattered. Even so, they all had looks of despair on their faces. This was because they knew that if they encountered Jiang Xi or Mu Ning, there was no chance of escaping at all. Whoosh! A gust of wind whistled and swept through the mountain forest. Endless wind blades danced wildly. In a few breaths, this group of contestants was turned into minced meat. Before the 9 regions genius battle, his Gale domain and Li Fire domain had been perfected. However, he had not developed the practical application of these two Daoist arts to the extreme. After all, there was always a gap between practice and theory. After so many days and hundreds of thousands of battles, Jiang Xi had become more adept at using Daoist arts. His combat experience had finally improved greatly. After killing these people, Jiang Xi flew away and checked his points at the same time. My points have exceeded 5 billion. Killing these more than 10 people, he obtained a large number of points again. Since the competition started until now, these remaining 10,000 over people, each person had at least several 100,000 points. The current point ranking situation in Zone 101. Number 1, Mu Ning, 6 billion. Number 2, Mo Tianba, 5.9 billion. Number 3, Jiang Xi, 5 billion. Number 4, Dual Gun Tycoon, 4 billion. Number 5, Cheng Yu, 4 billion. Number 6, Wang Jinyuan, 6 billion. Number 7, Baruto. The first two are both freaks. There are still 3 days and the division battles will be over. Have to kill 2 points players before I can catch up. Jiang Xi shook his head helplessly. His figure swayed and disappeared from the sky above this mountain forest. On Zone 101, this planet, he searched non-stop. Unfortunately, the strength of the points players were not weak. Wanting to find them was very difficult. Quickly run, it's Jiang Ci. Along the way, the contestants who saw Jiang Ci took to their heels and fled. But not a single one could escape. Very soon, Jiang Ci arrived above a city. Whoosh, a figure directly blocked his path. It was a thin and cold young man. On the street below, there were hundreds of corpses lying. The hidden contestants in this area were all killed by this person. Jiang Ci. The cold young man looked at Jiang Ci. The blood on the long staff was still dripping drop by drop. Wang Jingyuan. Jiang Ci's eyes flashed. The two were respectively third and sixth in the division. One had 5 billion points, the other had 3.6 billion points. You want to fight with me now? Jiang Ci asked. That's right. If I kill you, I can rush to first place. Wang Jingyuan's expression was determined with a trace of madness. Then let's fight. Jiang Ci nodded lightly. Boom! The powerful aura of the two suddenly erupted and spread out. All the hidden contestants in the surrounding thousands of kilometers were shocked and wanted to withdraw from the battle range of the two. However, Jiang Ci and Wang Jingyuan did not intend to let them go. These people who wanted to take advantage of the situation were slaughtered by the two of them in just a moment. Then, the two stood in the air, separated by thousands of miles, and their aura reached the peak. Withered tree revives spring. Wang Jingyuan took the lead. A rare Dao technique, the complete withered tree domain, was immediately displayed through the long staff in his hand. The power of his domain bred vitality in death. It was extremely strange. An extremely condensed staff shadow swept out. Jiang Ci directly faced it, Gale Shield. Clang! Clang! This move was blocked by him without any hesitation. Whoosh! Another sword suddenly pierced out. The power of the Gale domain. Gale sword shadows condensed on the sword body, shaking the space. It was extremely fast. What a fast sword! Wang Jingyuan's expression changed. He responded with the fastest speed. Staff forest. The sky full of staff shadows, under his withered tree domain, seemed to have turned into a primitive forest, covering thousands of kilometers. Puff! Puff! The towering giant tree collapsed. Jiang Ci's Gale sword shadows were constantly being consumed under this kind of blocking. Before it reached Wang Jingyuan, it had completely dissipated. Chapter 310. As expected, no one in the top 10 is weak. Jiang Ci had expected this. Leaf fire. He changed his move, and the Gale domain disappeared. The dark red leaf fire domain spread to a radius of 1,000 kilometers. The primeval forest formed by the withered wood domain was burned to ashes in an instant. Fire was the bane of wood. Annihilation, wood armor. Wang Jingyuan's expression was cold. He was not affected. The withered wood shrunk and condensed on the staff. A layer of withered wood armor appeared on his body. Swoosh! He rushed directly toward Jiang Ci. The staff shadow was like a dragon as it smashed down. Boom! 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 Ha, that's more like it. Jiang Ci laughed. He used the same method, and the Gale domain condensed into a black armor. The Gale shield had an extremely strong defensive power. Now that it had turned into armor, its defense was 10 times stronger. Take my 10,000 strikes. Wang Jingyuan shouted coldly. The staff shadows covered the sky and emitted a vast divine power. Jiang Ci had no room to dodge. The sky suddenly darkened. Disperse. Jiang Ci's expression was calm. The leaf fire domain condensed on the killer shadow sword. The dark red sword shadow emitted a terrifying aura. It was as if it could burn everything. The sword turned into 1,000,000 feet long. Blazing flames surged and burned in this space. Rumble. The staff shadows that blotted out the sky dissipated. Impossible. This is my strongest move. It has already touched the early stage of the primordial soul realm. Wang Jingyuan found it hard to accept. With his strength, he could definitely be ranked first in the other divisions. But now, his strongest move was easily defeated by Jiang Xi. He lost. Swoosh! The moment the staff shadows dissipated, a 3-foot-long sword shadow cut through the air, penetrated the wooden armor, and pierced his forehead. Wang Jingyuan was dead. He was also the first participant in the top 10 of Division 101 to be eliminated. The moment Wang Jingyuan died, half of his points were contributed to Jiang Xi. Jiang Xi's point soared from 5 billion to 8 billion. He was ranked first. At the same time, this battle attracted the attention of those outside of the sky-reaching mountain and river diagram. It became the biggest hot topic. Jiang Xi's name quickly spread to every major galaxy in the Blue Star region. This is the young genius of our blue planet. With such strength, Jiang Xi will definitely make it to the top 3,600 in the finals. Not only that, I think Jiang Xi is aiming for the top 1,000. The blue planet, which had been weak for years, urgently needed a genius to appear. Therefore, during this period of time, the Zhangyan sect had already taken out Jiang Xi and wantonly publicized it. Although they could not find any of Jiang Xi's experiences from 10 years ago, the experts of the Zhangyan sect still had doubts about Jiang Xi's true origins. However, he couldn't care less about that now. It was fine as long as his identity information indicated that he was from Blue Planet. Even if it wasn't, it was. For 50,000 years, no one in the Kanglan Star region had made it to the top 3,600 in the finals. Not to mention the Blue Planet. Dao De Manor. Xian Tian and Li Baibai had been eliminated not long ago. The two of them were also paying attention to Jiang Xi's situation. At first, they were very worried when they saw Wang Jingyuan stop Jiang Xi. Because of Wang Jingyuan's strength, he could definitely rank first in the other regions. In the end, when they saw Jiang Xi easily deal with Wang Jingyuan, both of them were shocked. This kid is simply not human. He's only 32 years old. Xian Tian shook his head and sighed. It seems that we really can't catch up with him. Li Baibai smiled bitterly. Of course, both of them were very gratified. Although the outside world had been saying that Jiang Xi was the glory of the Blue Planet, Jiang Xi actually represented the people of Earth. Jiang Daodu chuckled at the side. She was naturally the happiest when Jiang Xi achieved results. However, Jiang Xi's first place only lasted for a minute before it was surpassed by the shepherd boy, Mu Ning. Through the changes in the points ranking, Jiang Xi knew that Mu Ning had eliminated Qingyu, who was in 5th place, and obtained 2 billion points. His total points directly reached 8 billion. And he only had 8 billion. The gap had widened. But it wasn't that he didn't have a chance. Jiang Xi didn't hide his aura at all as he searched for the other top 10 contestants in Division 101. Therefore, Jiang Xi and Mu Ning seemed to have agreed on it. They had a tacit understanding. Jiang Xi killed the 7th place and became first again. Mu Ning killed the 8th place and took back the 1st place again. The two of them took turns to sit on the first throne. Then, the 5th to 10th place were all killed by the two of them. In the end, Jiang Xi's points reached 3 billion. Mu Ning, on the other hand, reached 8 billion. It was still difficult to separate them. They were very close. At this point, only the 1st to 4th place remained among the top 10 contestants. As for those outside the top 10, there weren't many left. Jiang Xi and Mu Ning were hunting down the top 10 contestants. Mo Tianba, who was in 3rd place, and Double Gun Tycoon, who was in 4th place, killed almost all the remaining contestants. Even if they were lucky enough to survive, with their points, it wouldn't affect the ranking. Now, only the top 4 could affect the final ranking. Mu Ning 9. 8 billion. Jiang Ci 9. 3 billion. Mo Tianba 6. 2 billion. Double Gun Tycoon 5. 3 billion. Now, anyone could get first place. For example, Double Gun Tycoon, who was in 4th place. If he could kill Mu Ning, then his points would reach 10. 2 billion. On the 30th day of the division battle, the battle for the first place in Division 101 also came to an end. All eyes were on it. Many of the 360 divisions in the Kanglan Star region had already decided the first place. None of them was as intense as Division 101. It was already the last day, and the first place was still uncertain: Kanglan Star Jiang Ci, Forgetful River Star Mu Ning, Moto Star Mo Tianba, Nawa Star Double Gun Tycoon. All 4 of them had their own supporters. Although they couldn't hear it in the towering mountain river diagram, they still couldn't help but shout. The Interstellar Spinach group even opened bets. Who would get first place? Towering mountain river diagram, Kanglan Star region, Division 101. Jiang Ci stood on the top of a 10,000-meter high mountain and searched within a 1,000-kilometer radius with his sole consciousness. It's the last day. It's impossible to get first place by killing those ordinary contestants. Mu Ning, Mo Tianba, and Double Gun Tycoon, only by killing all of them can I guarantee the first place. He was thinking about hunting, and the other 3 must have the same idea. After searching within a 1,000-kilometer radius of this 10,000-meter high mountain, Jiang Ci didn't find any trace of these 3 people. He went to the next place. His figure kept flashing on this planet. Found it. In the mountains ahead, Jiang Ci found 2 powerful auras, but Mu Ning wasn't there. Then, it could only be Mo Tianba and Double Gun Tycoon. Are they deliberately revealing their auras? Or are they fighting a decisive battle? Jiang Ci's heart skipped a beat, and he suddenly flew over in a flash. But before he arrived, someone beat him to it and appeared in the sky above the mountains. Mu Ning. This young shepherd boy looked like he was taking a stroll. He was very relaxed. Gentlemen, listen to my song. Mu Ning chuckled. Chapter 311. Swoosh! 2 figures darted out from the mountains and blocked Mu Ning's path. Mo Tianba was tall and sturdy like a bear. His mace seemed to have the strength of 10,000 kilograms. Dual Spear Protector was like his name. He held 2 spears, one of water and one of fire. 2 perfected Dao domains circled around his spears. Both of them stared at Mu Ning with a grim expression. Their original plan was to lure Jiang Ci over and kill Jiang Ci. Then, the 2 of them would fight. That way, they would have a chance to fight for first place and avoid fighting Mu Ning. They did not expect to lure Mu Ning over. They would rather fight Jiang Ci than Mu Ning. Mu Ning's methods were too strange. It was impossible to guard against. Jiang Ci, stop hiding. Mu Ning was about to play his bamboo flute when he suddenly chuckled. Mo Tianba and Dual Spear Protector's expressions changed. They did not notice Jiang Ci. Whoosh! Not far away, there was a sudden fluctuation in the empty sky. Jiang Ci appeared. He used the wind to hide his figure. Nice move. Jiang Ci praised. He did not mind being discovered. My ears have been good since I was young. Mu Ning smiled innocently. His eyes were bright and clean. 1 each? Jiang Ci said again. He was naturally referring to Mo Tianba and Dual Spear Protector. No, I'll fight the 3 of you. Mu Ning smiled. Heh. Jiang Ci sneered. Their conversation infuriated Mo Tianba and Dual Spear Protector. They did not feel good being looked down upon. How dare you? Take 2 of my spears. They attacked. Mo Tianba's heavy mace suddenly enlarged. It was like a mountain as it came crashing down. Dual spear protectors, dual domains of water and fire were also unleashed. The two completely opposite domain powers collided at high speed, producing a shocking force. Boom! 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 Their targets were Jiang Xi and Mu Ning. Jiang Xi laughed. His sword flashed. Accompanied by a gust of wind, it whistled toward Mo Tianba's mace. Clang! 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 The immense power flowed along the sword and into Jiang Xi's body. What a powerful force! Jiang Xi was shocked. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a stream of light and dodged to the side. At the same time, the Gale sword shadow stabbed out. Dong! The aftermath of their fight seemed to compress the space around them, and a muffled sound echoed through the sky. At the same time, Mu Ning's bamboo flute began to play a melodious tune that drew people in. It seemed to be able to penetrate deep into one's soul. The invisible power of the domain of life spread out in this space. The dual gun protector that was attacking him paused for a moment, and the dual domain of water and fire immediately dispersed. Dual gun tycoon's eyes were unfocused, and his expression was ferocious. He was still struggling. Suddenly, the pitch of the flute rose a few notches. Dual gun tycoon's body fell from the sky. His aura disappeared without a trace. He was dead. Fuck, this freak. Jiang Xi had already used the power of the Gale domain to protect himself. The whistling wind covered the sound of the flute, but the pervasive power of the domain of life was trying to penetrate his body and mind. Gale, parting fire. The power of the two domains quickly circulated in his body and blocked it. This is my chance. At this moment, Jiang Xi saw that Mo Tianba's eyes were also a little unfocused and confused. His speed reached its peak, and he suddenly stabbed out with his sword. Slash! The killer shadow sword pierced through Mo Tianba's forehead. At this point, the third and fourth place in Division 101 were all dead. Only Jiang Xi and Mu Ning were left. Their latest points were Jiang Xi 12. 4 billion. Mu Ning 12. 5 billion. There was only a difference of 100 million. But at this moment, this 100 million was no longer important. The two of them would definitely fight to determine the winner, and the winner would be first. Outside the Skyspan Mountain River diagram, in the major galaxies of the pale blue star region. Trillions of people were watching this battle, and everyone's emotions were already at the peak. Such a battle for first place was too exciting and exciting. Pale blue stars Jiang Xi. Forgetful river planets Mu Ning. There were many supporters on both sides, cheering and shouting. Cangyan sect. Sect Master Wu Kuei and the Essence Soul Elders were also completely attracted by this battle. Sect Master, Jiang Xi has a high chance of winning first place in Division 101 this time. Dual rare Dao domains aren't necessarily worse than a special domain of life, Grand Elder Mu Chuan said with a smile. Although Jiang Xi and Mu Ning were both participants of the Pale Blue Star region, Jiang Xi was from the Pale Blue Star region. Of course, they supported Jiang Xi. It still depends on how they perform in the battle. With the strength of these two, either one of them could win. Wu Kuei shook his head and smiled. He had to be rational. Elder Mu, when this battle is over, go visit Jiang Xi and recruit Shen Tian and Li Baibai into our Cangyan sect, said Wu Kuei. Haha, that's right. I didn't expect the three of them to know each other. Mu Chuan laughed loudly. They had already found out that Jiang Xi, Shen Tian, and Li Baibai lived in the same manner on the Pale Blue Star region. The only doubt was that they couldn't find out what Jiang Xi and the other two had experienced 10 years ago. It was as if they had appeared in the Pale Blue Star region out of thin air. Wu Kuei and the others suspected that the three of them came from some mysterious family or faction in the Dao Alliance. Otherwise, how could they be so talented? In Division 101, Jiang Xi and Mu Ning stood opposite each other. I've never liked fighting and killing with others since I was young, so it doesn't matter if I get first place or not. Mu Ning chuckled. Jiang Xi. You don't like fighting and killing? Don't you know how many people you've killed? Then let me stab you. I want first place, said Jiang Xi. How can there be such a good thing? Although I don't like fighting, I've never been one to admit defeat since I was young. I've met so many opponents, but you were the only one who blocked my dream-seeking song last time, so this time, I'm going to show you my full moon song. Mu Ning was excited. Come on then. Jiang Xi raised his long sword and condensed his aura. Swoosh! The sword shadow pierced through space and directly attacked Mu Ning. Strike first and gain the upper hand. However, Mu Ning turned his body and stepped on the void barefoot, easily dodging Jiang Xi's sword. It was as if the world was closer to him, making it easier for him to control the environment around him. A soft and ethereal sound of a flute sounded. It was the sound of the full moon song. Almost instantly, it penetrated deep into Jiang Xi's soul. It was like a lullaby. Jiang Xi's head was dizzy and he wanted to fall asleep. Oh no! Jiang Xi shuddered and suddenly woke up. Whoosh! The wind whistled and he disappeared on the spot. Boom! Almost at the same time, a huge foot landed on the spot where he had been standing. A huge thunderous aura spread out in all directions, making one's heart tremble. If Jiang Xi was a step slower just now, he would have been trampled into a meat patty. No! I have to fight in close combat. If I'm restrained by him like this, I won't have any chance at all. Jiang Xi's expression was serious. The wind turned into armor and protected his body. Then, he crossed the void and approached at an extremely fast speed. Wind helps fire, Li fire. A dark red Li fire sword shadow suddenly shot out under the power of the Gale domain. Jiang Xi was confident that even an early-stage Essence Soul Realm cultivator would not dare to take this sword head-on. Chapter 312. However, Mu Ning was still standing in place, and the sound of his flute was still fluttering. However, a strange life domain power, accompanied by the sound of the flute, suddenly transformed into a giant palm and shattered the distant fire sword. Jiang Xi's expression did not change. He took advantage of this opportunity to approach Mu Ning. He instantly swung his sword. This time, with the true intent of the sword as the core, gale and fire spiraled. The wind aided the fire, and the fire aided the wind. The power of the two domains seemed to have merged into one, and the power instantly increased. The surging sword made Mu Ning unable to maintain his composure any longer, and his expression changed slightly. The sound of the plenilune immediately accelerated its tempo, and the life domain power condensed into countless huge feet. It kicked towards Jiang Xi's sword. Boom! Boom! The explosive impact swept through the entire planet of Zone 101. As for Jiang Xi and Mu Ning, under this kind of impact, they remained unmoved. After everything calmed down, Mu Ning's expression was unprecedentedly solemn. If your plenilune song is only this powerful, then you will definitely lose today. Jiang Xi was expressionless as he struck out with his sword again. You can actually fuse two rare domains, and its power is comparable to a special level Dao domain. Looks like the plenilune song won't work. Listen to my fourth song, Muyan Song. Mu Ning took a deep breath. There's a fourth song. Jiang Xi's expression changed. He knew that Mu Ning's Dao technique was a special Dao domain. According to his judgment, the plenilune song had perfectly unleashed the full power of this special Dao domain. If there was a fourth song, it meant that this person's Dao technique realm had already surpassed the domain stage. The Dao of heaven and earth. Mu Ning said, my Muyan song was comprehended when I was herding cows. Unfortunately, I've only completed 30% of it. If you can block it, I'll admit defeat. As he spoke, he began to play with his flute. Jiang Xi's heart skipped a beat. It was indeed the Dao of heaven and earth. Don't even think about it. Jiang Xi shouted coldly. If he let this guy play, he would have no chance. Immediately, sword shadows rose, turning into a sword curtain that blotted out the sky. Whoosh! Whoosh! It was as if 10,000 swords were fired at the same time. There was a hum. However, there was an invisible heaven and earth binding coming from all directions. Riverward discovered that he seemed to have fallen into a quagmire. The speed boost provided by the Gale domain also lost its effect. This was the difference between their cultivation realms. It was indeed the Tao of heaven and earth. Jiang Ci felt bitter in his heart. As the sound of the flute rose, the clouds rolled and dispersed. The curtain of swords in the sky vanished into nothingness. In an instant, Jiang Ci was immersed in the sound of the flute. He could not resist at all. Even with the protection of two domains, he couldn't stop Mu Ning's Tao of heaven and earth. They were no longer on the same level. Jiang Ci's consciousness disappeared into the mountain and river diagram in a daze. Finally, the only person left in the sky above the mountains was the shepherd boy, who was wearing a straw hat, a short shirt, and bare feet. Mu Ning, on the other hand, was stunned for a long time before he let out a long sigh with a complicated expression. This fourth song was supposed to be reserved for the finals, but you forced me to use it. Mu Ning, admit that you are the strongest opponent I've ever met. There were countless races in the universe, and the Tao alliances and 9 star zones occupied by the human race were the most fertile territories in the vast universe. The Tao alliance's heavenly court, which ruled over the 9 zones, was located in the middle of the 9 zones. It occupied an enormous star zone that was no smaller than the 9 zones. At this moment, in a hall surrounded by stars in the Tao alliance's heavenly court, 2 middle-aged men sat across from each other in the starry sky. One of them had disheveled hair and wore only a green robe. The other had a handsome face and was covered in armor. In the center of the hall, the mountain and river diagram's rainbow light flowed. The situation of the first stage of the 3,600 star zones was displayed in front of the 2 of them. Pale blue star zone's zone 101 is quite interesting. The green-robed man waved his hand. The mountain and river diagram in front of the 2 of them spun and displayed the scene of Jiang Ci and Mu Ning's battle. Oh! This kid has already mastered 30% of the special Tao of life. He has the strength to enter the top 10 in the finals. The armored man was also interested. Moreover, he has mastered it very well. He can completely integrate the Tao of life into his music. With such attainments, once he perfects the Tao of life in the future, he can directly perform Tao integration, said the green-robed man. In comparison, his opponent, the other kid, has terrible luck. He can think of using Sword True Intent as the core to fuse 2 rare Tao domains. With such strength, he could have taken first place in the zone. The armored man laughed. He can be considered a good seedling. If he's lucky, he might be able to enter the top 500 in the finals. The green-robed man shook his head. Clearly, they were more interested in Mu Ning. Soaring Rainbow Planet. Yuan Zhangshua was alone in a luxurious palace. He was in a deranged state. Good death. Good death. There was a hint of helplessness in his tone. The Flying Rainbow Star trade was an important source of wealth for the Flying Rainbow sect, and he had managed it for so long. He had been in charge for so long, so he was naturally not a simple-minded and impulsive person. Yuan Zhangshua knew the current situation very well. Even if the 9 Zones Genius Tournament ended, he would not be able to deal with Jiang Ci. In fact, he had to avoid him. Furthermore, he was worried about something else. If the competitors for the position of sect master in the sect knew that he had a conflict with Jiang Ci, at that time, he would be in a passive position. Damn it! Yuan Zhangshua gritted his teeth and growled. Pale Blue Star region, on a remote Tier 2 planet. There was also a Skirich mountain river diagram in the sky. Patriarch Qing Xian was like an ordinary person. He hid in the secular world and paid attention to this grand genius tournament. Although the first stage of the round-robin tournament had yet to begin, he was already certain Jiang Ci was the genius ranked second among the participants of the Pale Blue Star region in terms of talent in Tao techniques. The first place was naturally the shepherd boy. Jiang Ci, a dual rare Dao technique at the domain stage and a special Dao technique at the true meaning stage. Patriarch Qing Xian's eyes flickered. He had already obtained the blood qi spirit fruit that he had been guarding for 2,000 years. His strength could improve further. However, at this moment, seeing the Dao technique talent Jiang Ci displayed, he could not think of a way to deal with Jiang Ci. Pale Blue Star Region, Linhai City, Daoda Manor. Jiang Daodu, Xian Tian, Li Baibai, and the others were guarding outside the training room. Soon, Jiang Ci walked out with a frown. He did not seem to be in a good state. "Brother!" Jiang Daodu shouted first, very worried. Next to her, the Wen siblings and Shenwansi also looked worried. "Jiang Ci, you did very well." Xian Tian also comforted him. "Yes, compared to us, you are ranked second in your division. You are much stronger than us. I am only ranked 855th. Big brother is a little better. He is only ranked 103rd in his division." Li Baibai laughed. They had been through hundreds of battles and were much older than Jiang Ci. Their psychological endurance was strong. In the face of such failure, they naturally laughed it off. However, Jiang Ci was only 32 years old. He was too young. Although they were sworn siblings, in reality, Riverward was still a junior. The two of them were worried that Jiang Ci would be dealt a blow. This was because Jiang Ci had not encountered such an opponent for a long time. There was no room for him to fight back. He was completely crushed and miserable. Chapter 313. Hearing these comforting voices, Jiang Ci felt warm in his heart. He smiled and said, "Don't worry, it's just second place. It's not like I don't have a chance." He frowned just now because he was reflecting on the battle just now. Only then did they feel relieved. Yes, there was still the round-robin competition. With the strength Jiang Ci had shown, there was no problem for him to participate in the round-robin competition. At this moment, someone came to Daoda Manor and asked to visit. After confirming the identity, Jiang Ci did not dare to neglect and quickly invited him in. Because the person who came was Tsangyan sect's great elder Mu Chuan. A late-stage essence soul cultivator. A late-stage essence soul cultivator, only one step away from Dao integration. In the entire Kanglan Star region, he was a powerhouse who stood at the peak. Jiang Daodu, Wen Yoxin, and the others saw the situation and knew that they had something to talk about, so they quickly left for other places in the manor. "Greetings, great elder." Jiang Ci, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai were left behind and bowed respectfully. "No need to be so polite. You are all the leaders of our Kanglan Star, the hope of the future. Especially Jiang Ci, you did well this time and spread the name of our Kanglan Star's cultivation world. Our Tsangyan sect is also happy for this, so the sect master sent me to meet you, genius." Mu Chuan nodded and smiled. His gaze lingered on Jiang Ci for a while. The great elder of the Tsangyan sect was now full of emotions. This was because the strength that Riverward had displayed in the final battle of District 101 had exceeded their expectations. Although Jiang Ci was still in the nascent soul stage, he could imagine that soon after the finals of the 9 regions genius battle ended, Jiang Ci's status would be almost the same as his, a late-stage essence soul cultivator. "Thank you for your compliment, great elder." Jiang Ci smiled. He had already guessed the other party's intention in coming. Xian Tian and Li Baibai, on the other hand, were secretly laughing. They were all fake Blue Planet natives. Our sect master said that he hopes that you will continue to work hard and strive to break into the top 500 in the finals. At that time, our Tsangyan sect will also have a big gift to offer. Mu Chuan said again. Jiang Ci thanked sect master. Jiang Ci hurriedly expressed his gratitude. Only the top 500? He muttered in his heart, but his expression did not change. Was he that pessimistic about him? At that moment, Mu Chuan glanced at Xian Tian and Li Baibai before teasing Jiang Ci. Of course, I didn't come here uninvited this time because I'm not looking for you. Jiang Xi thought to himself, sure enough. Xian Tian and Li Baibai also looked calm. Obviously, they had also guessed it. Mu Chuan laughed, Xian Tian, are you willing to become a disciple of my Zhangyan sect? You walk the path of the Saber Dao, and it just so happens that my master is an expert of the Saber Dao. Jiang Xi and Li Baibai looked at Xian Tian happily. Although Mu Chuan did not say it explicitly, his master was very likely to be an expert of the path integration stage. However, it was still up to Xian Tian to make the decision. I'm willing to join. Xian Tian was very decisive. He walked the path of the Saber Dao without a guide. If there was a knowledgeable person to guide him carefully, he would definitely improve faster. Mu Chuan laughed, very satisfied with Xian Tian's answer. As for you, Li Baibai. Mu Chuan's gaze turned, and then he said, although the Dao technique you've comprehended is called the true meaning of fast, I've never seen it before. Is it convenient for you to explain? The true meaning of fast is a name I came up with myself because my Dao technique only strives for speed, Li Baibai said. Speed? Mu Chuan was puzzled. Not only speed, everything has to be fast. Li Baibai said simply. However, it made Mu Chuan even more puzzled. He did not look down on Li Baibai just because his ranking was the lowest among Jiang Xi's trio. Therefore, although he was puzzled, Mu Chuan still said seriously, are you willing to join the Zhangyan sect? Although we don't have any powerhouses who specialize in this Dao technique, I can provide you with the Dao technique. However, I can guarantee that the sect will provide you with the best cultivation conditions and help you cultivate to a higher level. Li Baibai hesitated. Xian Tian joined the Zhangyan sect because they had a powerhouse who cultivated the Saber Dao. However, her joining the Zhangyan sect did not have much meaning cultivation resources. They had treasures dug up from various arcane realms on Earth and did not lack resources. Just as Li Baibai was hesitating, someone else came to visit. Jiang Xi let Xian Tian and Li Baibai accompany Mu Chuan while he went to greet them himself. When he saw who it was, Jiang Xi smiled. There were 2 people in total. He did not recognize the kind-looking old man in the white robe. The other person was a middle-aged man with a long axe on his back. He had seen him before and had even interacted with him before. Greetings, Lord Earth. Jiang Xi bowed and said. The middle-aged man was Earth, the commander of the Dao Alliance's Heavenly Court's Planet Kanglan Law Enforcement Department. Earth was the one who helped the Mountain Sea Star trade when it was suppressed by the Flying Rainbow Star trade. He said it was to repay the favor of destroying the Azure Mystic sect, but Earth had helped a lot after all. Haha, Jiang Xi, congratulations. You're famous in all the major galaxies in the Kanglan Star Zone. Earth laughed heartily. You must be joking, Lord. I'm only second. Jiang Xi chuckled. Don't be modest. Everyone has seen your performance. If you were placed in any other competition zone, you would be number 1. It's a pity that you met Mu Ning. With his strength, he has a chance to enter the top 10. Earth shook his head and felt sorry for Jiang Xi. Only a chance to enter the top 10. Jiang Xi was surprised. He thought that with Mu Ning's strength, it was certain that he would enter the top 10 in the finals. That's right. Based on the experience of the previous 9 Zones Genius Tournament, it's common for geniuses with perfected Dao of Heaven and Earth to appear in the finals. Earth sighed. Jiang Xi was speechless. Perfected Dao of Heaven and Earth. He was leading by a large stage. Don't be surprised. Take Mu Ning for example. He comprehended the Dao of Heaven and Earth before reaching the nascent soul stage. He can easily become a Dao reunion cultivator in the future. What's more, he comprehended a special Dao technique. Once he succeeds in the Dao reunion, he will be at the pinnacle of the Dao reunion, Earth exclaimed. After saying that, he saw that Jiang Xi was a little stunned. Only then did he realize that these words seemed to be a big blow to Jiang Xi. Therefore, he smiled and said, "You're not bad yourself. With your strength, if you perform well, you can enter the top 500. If you're lucky, you might even enter the top 300. Only 3 to 500? Jiang Xi's eyes flashed. He was a little unconvinced. Muchuan had said the same thing just now. However, he didn't express his dissatisfaction. This time, he had obtained a huge amount of experience points. He had to pile up his Dao techniques first. Then, Earth shook his head and smiled. "I've digressed. Actually, I have another purpose for coming here this time." With that, he introduced the white-robed elder who had been smiling but hadn't said anything to Jiang Xi. "Jiang Xi, this is Lord Mo Qian." "Lord Mo Qian?" someone exclaimed. It was Muchuan, accompanied by Xian Tian and Li Baibai, who had walked out of the manor. Muchuan looked very surprised, as if he had discovered something extraordinary. Chapter 314. Haha, looks like someone is one step ahead of us. Earth laughed. The elder in grey robes called Mo Qian shook his head. Timing is better than being early. Luck has nothing to do with time. Greetings, Lord Mo Qian. Muchuan took a few steps forward and bowed solemnly. Jiang Xie, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai were all stunned by this scene. Muchuan was a late-stage primordial soul cultivator. Could Lord Mo Qian be in the Dao integration stage? Let me introduce you. Jiang Xi, this is Lord Mo Qian from the Dao Alliance Heavenly Court's Time Hall. Earth smiled at Jiang Xi. The Dao Alliance Heavenly Court's Time Hall. Xian Tian and Li Baibai were confused. However, Jiang Xi was shocked. He had learned about the Dao Alliance Heavenly Court from his master, Daoist Gu. There were a total of 36 halls in the Dao Alliance Heavenly Court, and the Time Hall was one of them. Those who could enter were at least in the Dao integration stage. You're wrong. I'm not in the Dao integration stage. Like Earth and Muchuan, I'm in the late-stage primordial soul stage. Mo Qian smiled faintly, as though he could see through Jiangxi's thoughts. I wouldn't dare to compare myself to Lord Mo Qian. Although you're in the late-stage primordial soul stage, your strength is no different from a Dao integration stage cultivator. Muchuan hurriedly said respectfully. Earth also bowed to show his respect. Alright, let's get down to business. Mo Qian shook his head and said to Li Baibai, "You're Li Baibai." Li Baibai was still in shock. Hearing this, she nodded blankly. Are you willing to be my disciple? Mo Qian asked. Li Baibai was stunned. Since when did she become so popular? Lord Mo Qian, is Li Baibai's Dao technique. Muchuan was shocked. However, it's related to time. Mo Qian nodded. No wonder the sect leader and I couldn't tell the origin of her Dao technique. Muchuan was enlightened. He persuaded Li Baibai. If that's the case, Li Baibai, it's most suitable for you to be Lord Mo Qian's disciple. Let me remind you. Once you enter the flowing time hall, you won't be allowed to leave unless you've reached a certain level of cultivation. The Dao technique that you are cultivating is very difficult. You might not be able to cultivate it successfully even after 100 years or 1,000 years, Mo Qian said. Li Baibai didn't hesitate this time. She was also a decisive person. She immediately agreed. Good, good, good. Mo Qian nodded in satisfaction. Jiang Xi and Xian Tian looked at each other. They were both pleasantly surprised for Li Baibai. Now, the future of the three of them was settled. Needless to say, Jiang Xi would become a core disciple of the Purple Heaven sect once he entered the top 3,600 in the finals. In the entire human race of the universe, other than Taoism, Buddhism, and Sword Gate, the Purple Heaven sect was the strongest. Now that Xian Tian had become a disciple of the Zhangyan sect, he had the opportunity to become a disciple of a Dao integration powerhouse. Although the Zhangyan sect was not comparable to the Purple Heaven sect, it was still a top immortal Dao sect that ruled over a star region. Since Li Baibai could become a disciple of an expert from the Tao Alliance's Time Moon Hall, his future would definitely not be too bad. They seemed to have stepped onto a new starting point and started a new journey. Although the three of them didn't say it out loud, they all had the same belief in their hearts. While everyone was pursuing a higher cultivation level, they also wanted to protect Earth. In the past, Xian Tian and Li Baibai had protected Earth from the monsters. Now, it was Jiang Xi who was protecting Earth. Xian Tian and Li Baibai, on the other hand, had fallen. Given their personalities, they naturally didn't want to put such a heavy burden on Jiang Xi alone. They wanted to prove that they weren't too bad either. Finally, it was time to leave. Mo Qian was going to return to the Tao Alliance's heavenly court. Therefore, Li Baibai had to leave with him. No one knew how long it would take for her to return. Although there was an interstellar transportation array, Mo Qian had said that she couldn't leave the Time Moon Hall unless she succeeded in her cultivation. Li Baibai's departure saddened Jiang Daodu the most. This was because Jiang Daodu had worshipped Li Baibai since she was young and saw her as a role model. You should cultivate well too. Don't cause trouble for your brother. Li Baibai intimately pinched Jiang Daodu's face. She chatted with Jiang Daodu for a while before turning her gaze to Jiang Xi and Xian Tian. Big brother, third brother, don't slack off. Don't let me overtake you if you're not careful. Alright, let's see who's more powerful in 100 years. Xian Tian was also very heroic. Jiang Xi smiled but didn't say anything. He had never been afraid of anyone when it came to cultivation speed. Li Baibai valiantly waved her hand and left. Xian Tian also followed Mu Chuan to the Tsangyan sect. Daodu manner once again quieted down. Big brother and sister Baibai are already working so hard. I can't slack off either. Jiang Xi collected his thoughts and returned to the cultivation room with a determined gaze. He first thought about the battle with Mu Ning. Using the sword intent as a medium to facilitate the fusion of wind and fire, the power of that sword surpassed the simple superposition of the previous domains. Unfortunately, it's still too far away from Mu Ning's path of life. If I had the Gale path or the path of fire, or the sword domain, I definitely wouldn't have lost so miserably. The path of sword was also a special Tao technique. It was not inferior to the path of life, and it was better at fighting. Even if he was only at the domain stage, it would still greatly increase his strength. With this thought, Jiang Xi opened the experience panel, Cultivation, Nascent Soul, Late Stage 1. 06 million/1. 06 million, Tao Technique, Gale Domain, 5 million/5 million, Fire Domain, 5 million/5 million, Sword Intent, 1 million/1 million, Amplitude, 100 Deduction, 10,000 experience points per time. Cultivation method, Purple Cloud Sword Scripture, Peacock Visualization experience points, 37,468 million, 3.7 billion points. Finally, I don't have to be stingy when it comes to deductions. Jiang Xi laughed. Deducing once would cost 10,000 EXP. 100 million experience points could only be used for 10,000 deductions. Gale and Fire Domain were rare Tao techniques, and the Path of Sword was even more special. Whether it was to deduce the Path of Gale, Fire Domain, or the Sword Domain, the difficulty was very high. For the past 10 years, he had not succeeded in deductions. In addition to the high difficulty of deductions, the number of deductions was too low. The round-robin competition will be attended by the 2nd to the 100th place in the 360 divisions, a total of 35,640 people. One-on-one, each person will have to fight 35,639 battles, 36 battles a day, which will last for nearly 3 years. In this way, I still have a chance to improve my Tao techniques. Let's begin the deduction. No matter what, I have to make a breakthrough. If he made a breakthrough in any of these 3 Tao techniques, his strength would improve even more. Mu Chuan and Eartha's words were still echoing in his mind. Could he only make it to the top 500 in the finals? Jiang Xi did not believe it. Use the purple cloud sword scripture and sword intent to deduce once. Use the gale domain to deduce once. Use the fire domain to deduce once. He repeated the words in his heart without stopping for a moment. His experience points were rapidly depleting. The feeling of success in his heart was getting stronger and stronger. Chapter 3:15. While Jiang Xi was deducing Taoist methods, the first round robin of the 9 regions genius competition was also going on. A total of 35,640 people in the Kanglan Star region were competing for the remaining 3,240 spots in the finals. Compared with competing for the first place in the division, the chances of qualifying for the finals in the round robin were much higher. For example, the strong contestants who were eliminated in Division 101. Mo Tianba, Wang Jingyuan, Double Gun Tycoon, and the others. In such a competition, if there were no accidents, they would all qualify for the finals in the end. Jiang Xi would certainly have no problems. After finishing the 36 matches a day, he spent all his time on cultivation. Such a competition was very easy for him. The competition that others needed to do their best was just a place for him to hone his Taoist methods and moves. In addition, Jiang Daode knew that Jiang Xi was looking for a breakthrough, so she didn't disturb him. Instead, she took the initiative to take on more responsibilities. For example, she occasionally went to Earth to help Jiang Xi patrol. Then she worked hard to develop the Mountain Sea Star trade and tried to become a powerful helper for Jiang Xi. Just like that, time flew. 3 years passed in a flash. On May 5, the 110th year of the New Moon era, the round-robin competition in the Kanglan Star region finally came to the last day. There was only one picture left on the map of the Sky Span Mountain hanging in the sky. It was the last match. In the picture, Jiang Xi, the star contestant of the Kanglan Star region, was fighting with another contestant. Now, 3 years had passed. Jiang Xi's name had already spread to all the planets of the major life galaxies in the Kanglan Star region. He was even more famous than the young shepherd boy, Mu Ning. Especially on the Kanglan Star, Jiang Xi had to wear a disguise mask to go out. Otherwise, he would be surrounded and asked for his autograph. At this time, in the main hall surrounded by the starry sky in the Zixiao Star region of the Zixiao domain, a man in a green robe with disheveled hair and a man in a suit with a handsome face. They were still sitting opposite each other in the starry sky. The two of them seemed to have not moved in the past few years. In the center of the hall, the colorful light of the Sky Span Mountain was flowing. "Old Chu, look at this little guy. He has made a lot of progress." The man in a green robe was a little surprised. He waved his hand, and the round-robin competition in the Kanglan Star region appeared on the map. The unlucky little guy from 3 years ago. Didn't he see it last time? With his strength, he can at most break into the top 500. The man in armor felt a little bored. "Just watch." The green-robed man smiled. The armored man's eyes narrowed, and he began to take this matter seriously. Although their mission was to supervise the entire 9 zones genius battle, the two of them didn't have the same mission. However, Immortal's authority was greater than his. He had some ability to control the heavenly mountain river diagram. Through the sky-piercing mountain and river diagram, he could see the specific situation of the participants. In the cosmos of the Skyspan Mountain River diagram, on a giant meteorite, Jiang Xi and a disdainful handsome young man stood opposite each other. Both sides exuded powerful auras and Taoist rhymes circulated. Suddenly, the handsome young man took the initiative to attack. The full moon scimitar in his hand drew an arc, wanting to cut Jiang Xi in half. However, the moment he made his move, Jiang Xi merely chuckled. The area within a radius of 1,000 kilometers was covered by an invisible domain. A sword shadow, like a fish, shot out from the void behind the young man and pierced through his body like a bolt of lightning. The handsome young man's expression froze, and he stopped breathing. Jiang Xi won. His attack was clean and tidy, completely crushing the opponent. In the Starry Sky Palace, The green-robed man, the immortal, smiled and looked at the armored man, Chu Xian. How is it? Sword domain. And it's a perfect sword domain. Chu Xian's eyes lit up. That's not all. Think about his sword realm 3 years ago. The immortal smiled. See? What a terrifying speed of improvement. It had only been 3 years. Of course Chu Xian remembered. This little guy called Jiang Xi's sword realm back then was the true meaning of the sword. And now, not only had it become the sword domain, but he'd also cultivated it to perfection. This Jiang Xi can enter the top 300 in the finals. Chu Xian stared at Jiang Xi's figure on the screen and suddenly said. Last time, he'd been lucky and entered the top 300. This time, he'd definitely enter. And the top 300 and the top 500 were two completely different concepts. Immortal only smiled and didn't say anything. What if this little guy had a breakthrough in the finals? Inside the sky-piercing mountain and river diagram. Jiang Xi won easily. In fact, whether he won or not didn't affect him at all. Because his ranking in the round-robin competition had already been confirmed as first place, he'd advanced to the finals of the 9 Zones Genius competition. However, Jiang Xi didn't immediately leave the sky-piercing mountain and river diagram. He seemed to be waiting for something. Suddenly, a teleportation force appeared around him. The Milky Way spun and he appeared on a vast starry continent. On this continent, all the young geniuses who'd advanced to the finals were gathered. Including him, there were a total of 3,600 people. Jiang Xi. In the distance, a young boy's figure flashed and appeared in front of Jiang Xi. Mu Ning. Jiang Xi nodded and smiled. You freak, it's only been 3 years. Your sword domain is perfect. Mu Ning's expression was exaggerated. Hey, let's not talk about who's freak. Even if my sword domain is perfect, I'm still not your match. Jiang Xi said unhappily. At least you know your limits. Mu Ning laughed. It sounded very arrogant, but his eyes were very clean, not the kind that had malicious intentions. Jiang Xi smiled helplessly. There was nothing he could do when encountering such a naive guy. At the same time, he secretly checked the changes on the experience panel. Sword domain, October 10, 10, amplitude, 200, remaining experience points, 2,815. 9 million, he was lucky enough to successfully deduce the sword domain a month ago. That was why he could easily win just now. In terms of experience points consumption, he had consumed more than 900 million. Of course, this included the consumption of the Gale domain and the Fire domain. The deduction of the sword domain alone had consumed more than 200 million experience points. The most obvious change this time is that the amplitude has reached 200 times, which is double from before. I just don't know how far away I am compared to that freak Mu Ning. Jiang Xi calculated in his heart. While the two were talking and laughing, the other geniuses of the Blue Star region were also observing and discussing the two of them. Since Mu Ning did not participate in the round-robin competition, they had not seen much of him. However, Jiang Xi was different. Every one of them had fought with Jiang Xi and knew how terrifying Jiang Xi was. Everyone understood that Mu Ning and Jiang Xi were no longer on the same level as them. These two people were aiming for the top 3,600 in the finals. As for them, they were probably just going through the motions. While everyone was bustling with noise and excitement, a figure appeared out of thin air above this starry sky continent. It was a burly man with a long beard and a long saber on his back. His aura was very domineering. As soon as he appeared, an invisible pressure immediately spread out. Chapter 316. The 3,600 geniuses of the Kanglan Star region suddenly fell silent. Some of the weaker ones even turned pale and broke out in a cold sweat under this terrifying pressure. Is this the Tao integration powerhouse of the Zhangyan sect who cultivates the Tao of the Saber? Even a wisp of spiritual consciousness in the sky connecting mountain and river painting can emit such power. Jiang Xi was also shocked. After Xian Tian entered the Zhangyan sect, he once revealed information about the Dao Integration Grandmaster of the Zhangyan sect. The Dao Integration Grandmaster of the Zhangyan sect, Wei Sheng, is a Dao of the Saber. It is said that his actual combat power has surpassed the Dao integration stage. This was the slightest bit of information that he had learned. Beyond the Dao integration stage, Jiang Xi was fascinated. At this moment, a thunderous voice sounded in this starry sky continent. The young people of this year are very good. The second stage of the finals will begin in a year. I hope you can continue to work hard and win glory for the Kanglan Star region. The dark-faced man's eyes were like torches as he swept his gaze over everyone. Then, he disappeared. The big boss finished his lecture, the geniuses breathed a sigh of relief and left the sky connecting mountain and river painting. Jiang Xi, see you in a year. Mu Ning also waved his hand and disappeared. Jiang Xi nodded. When his spiritual consciousness returned to his body, he seemed to be able to feel the pressure just now. When he came out of the practice room, Jiang Daodu was waiting outside. The little girl smiled and said, "Brother, congratulations. It's still early. Congratulate me when I get first place in the universe." Jiang Xi was very arrogant in front of Jiang Daodu. "Ha, you only know how to brag." Jiang Daodu wrinkled her nose. "Let's go home and have a look. I haven't been back for 3 years." Jiang Xi smiled. The two left Daodu Manor side by side. Soon, they returned to Earth through the interstellar transmission array. Although someone in the Zhangyan sect secretly investigated Jiang Xi's background, they found nothing. Because the interstellar transmission array on the first moon of Earth had been marked by Daoist Gu, the coordinates of Earth's interstellar transmission were encrypted. Earth, Xian Tian City. Jiang Xi and Jiang Dudu appeared in a teleportation array. He had set up this teleportation array the last time he returned to Earth. Now that the situation on Earth had changed drastically, in comparison, Xian Tian City was safer and more secretive than Pak Sun Province. Therefore, he destroyed the teleportation array in Pak Sun Province. The fewer people who knew about the teleportation array, the better. At this stage, Earth was still not suitable for connecting to the stars. Lord Jiang Xi, Hu Yan, Chu Zhe, and Qiu Hong, who had been waiting here for a long time, bowed respectfully. The three of them had now completely replaced the original responsibilities of Jiang Xi, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai to guard the entire Great Xia Alliance. Hu Yan, congratulations, you've broken through to the nascent soul stage. Jiang Xi laughed. It's mainly because Milord nurtured me well. Hu Yan did not dare to claim the credit. Jiang Xi smiled. As early as 10 years ago, he had selected a cultivation technique from his inherited memories and passed it to Hu Yan. Now, Hu Yan had finally broken through and reached the early nascent soul stage. Hu Yan's breakthrough also made Jiang Xi feel more at ease. Because in the future, he, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai would only return to Earth less and less frequently. The Great Xia Alliance had just been established, and it was not that stable internally. There had to be a cultivator who was strong enough to suppress everything. One nascent soul stage cultivator was enough. After that, Jiang Xi held Jiang Dudu's hand and like ordinary people, mingled with the passers-by and strolled around Earth. Compared to the cruel competition in the universe, Earth was like a quiet haven. In the blue sky, there was no sign of the Tongtian Mountain River diagram. It was as if it was isolated from the universe. 10 years had passed, and Earth's environment had changed greatly. Brand new cities were built in the former wilderness. The trend of cultivation had become more prosperous. Everyone did not relax just because the monsters were sealed in the Grotto Heaven's secret realms. Instead, because of the rich resources, more and more martial artists were produced. Jiang Xi was very happy to see such a situation. Being strong as a whole was true strength. He believed that if this continued, in another 100 years, 1,000 years, or even 10,000 years. Earth would definitely not be inferior to the level 4 or even level 5 planets of the Tao Alliance. When the two of them came to the Dark Shadow Kingdom to patrol, Jiang Xi received a message in his communication bead. He scanned it with his spiritual sense and found that it was a message from Earth. After reading the content, Jiang Xi was pleasantly surprised. This Lord Commander had given him another great gift. "Brother, what's the good news?" Jiang Dudu asked curiously. "Something good. Earth sent me some information about some young geniuses from other star zones that I need to pay attention to," Jiang Xi said with a smile. As the Heavenly Court's law enforcement commander in the Blue Star Zone, Earth had the means to obtain information about geniuses from other star zones. That's not bad. Jiang Dudu was pleasantly surprised for Jiang Xi. She had been running the Mountain Sea Star trade for the past 10 years and knew the importance of information. Know yourself and know your enemy. It was the same in business and on the battlefield. Jiang Xi was about to participate in the finals. At that time, all the geniuses from different star zones would gather. If he did not know the strength of his opponents, he would be at a disadvantage. Next, the two of them traveled around Earth. Jiang Xi diverted part of his attention to read the information. Hiss. Ji Wei, a young genius from the Thousand Bird Star Zone of the Hunyuan domain, killed 1 billion contestants in the division battles. Jiang Xi was stunned by the first piece of information. There was also a scene of Ji Wei's attack in the information. He hurriedly checked it. He saw a cold young man with a lock of white hair on his forehead facing more than 100,000 contestants. Suddenly, the space within 1,000 kilometers collapsed. The space seemed to have turned into glass shards. The contestants inside didn't even have the chance to scream before they died. A special Tao technique, the Tao of nothingness. He was even stronger than Mu Ning. The information stated that he possessed a special Tao of heaven and earth and had the strength to compete for the first place in the finals. Jiang Daodu was most familiar with Jiang Xi's expressions and movements. She could tell at a glance that Jiang Xi was frightened. "What happened? Why are you so scared?" Jiang Xi suppressed the shock in his heart and sent the information to her. Jiang Daodu was also dumbfounded after reading it. Then she turned her head and said, "Brother, I think you'd better forget about the first place. You'd better fight for the 300th or 500th place." Jiang Xi took a deep breath and continued to read the information of other geniuses. Kuang Lang, the first place in the Jiuyou Star Zone of the Guanghan domain, has a special Tao of heaven and earth. Yan Jiufeng, the first place in the fire-splitting star zone of the Tianyang domain, has a rare Tao of heaven and earth. Shuetong, Wuji domain, Fenglu. When the two of them wandered around Earth, Jiang Xi also finished reading the whole information. The shock in his heart could not be calmed down for a long time. In the information sent to him by Earth, there were 3 people who possessed a special Tao of heaven and earth. They were Ji Wei, Mu Ning, and Kuang Lang. 27 of them had a rare Tao of heaven and earth. 265 of them had an ordinary Tao of heaven and earth. There were a total of 295 geniuses at the Tao of heaven and earth level. Chapter 317. The 9 realms of the Tao Alliance were controlled by the 3 gates and 6 sects. The names of the realms also came from the 9 sections. They were the Tao realm, Buddhist realm, Sword realm, Zixiao realm, Guanghan realm, Hunyuan realm, Tianyang realm, Wuji realm, and True Mystic realm. While Jiang Xi was familiarizing himself with the information of his opponents, the geniuses of the 9 realms were also collecting information on the others through various means. Inside the famous Raging Sun cave in the fiery split star zone of the Tianyang realm, Yan Jiufeng was the young master of this cave. She was wearing a fiery red dress and was lying on her stomach beside a fire pond. She was holding a jade slip and carefully examining it. The girl with a fair face and a good figure frowned, looked serious, and sometimes excited. Experts are as common as clouds, experts are as common as clouds. After a while, she said to a woman in armor beside her, "Why hasn't the Zixiao realm sent over the Kanglan star zone?" The armored woman replied respectfully, the young cultivators of the Kanglan Star Zone have always been weak. In the past 50,000 years, the highest ranking in the finals was only 3,601. Our intelligence agency hasn't developed there, so it's not easy to collect information. Weak? Then forget it. It's boring. Yen Jiufeng waved her hand. At this moment, the armored woman's communication bead lit up. She quickly said, I've collected information on the participants of the Kanglan Star Zone. How many? Yen Jiufeng didn't even look up. She was obviously not interested. Just 2. Then read them to me. The first one is Mu Ning. He has a special Dao technique, the Dao of Life. He has the strength to reach the top 10 in the finals. The armored woman sounded surprised. Damn. Didn't they say the young cultivators of the Kanglan Star Zone were weak? Yen Jiufeng got up from the fire pond and widened her eyes. What about the other one? She asked. The armored woman replied, the other one is Jiang Ci. He also has a special Dao technique. What? Another special Dao technique? How are we supposed to play? Yen Jiufeng interrupted her. Young master, it's a special Dao technique, the Sword Realm. According to the information, this person has the strength to reach the top 300 in the finals. That's good. You don't need to read the rest, Yen Jiufeng waved her hand. In a desolate galaxy in the Hunyuan region, it was dark and deathly still. A cold youth with a lock of white hair on his forehead sat cross-legged in the starry sky. The starry sky around him seemed to be fluctuating, shattering, and reassembling along with his breathing. He was also looking for information on geniuses from other star zones. Are there 2 other people with special Daos of heaven and earth? No one can stop me. Guanghan Domain, 9 Nether Star Zone. On a cold planet, there was a young man named Wild Waves. Even after reading the information of the geniuses from other star regions, he was still extremely arrogant. In the Black Mountain Star Zone of the Wuji Domain. In the middle of the Sea of Blood, mountains of corpses stood tall. A cultivator who looked like a child sat on the highest mountain of corpses, overlooking the entire Blood Sea. Zixiao Region, Kanglan Star Region. In the Forgotten River Galaxy, on a quiet planet with life. Beside a clear lake, an old water buffalo was strolling leisurely. The young shepherd boy, Mu Ning, was leaning against a willow tree with a green foxtail in his mouth. He held a jade slip in his hand and looked at it. Earth. Jiang Ci focused his gaze and regained his composure. According to the information, there were a total of 295 geniuses with Daos of heaven and earth. But he understood that there were far more than that. Those geniuses with special Dao domains are not inferior to ordinary Daos of heaven and earth in terms of combat power. For example, he had a special sword domain, and it was already in the perfected state. Through the experience points panel, he calculated, a perfected sword domain could provide an amplitude of 200 times. A perfected ordinary Dao of heaven and earth could provide an amplitude of 500 times. According to the degree of comprehension, a Dao of heaven and earth could be divided into 10 levels. His special Dao technique, the sword domain, was equivalent to 4 levels of an ordinary Dao of heaven and earth. Moreover, he had 2 rare Dao domains, gale and fire. The geniuses of the universe gather. Jiang Ci's eyes became firm again. There was still a year before the finals began. It was not time to admit defeat yet. In the coming days, he would continue to deduce. As long as he could make a breakthrough in the gale and fire domains, his strength would be further improved. As for the sword domain, Jiang Ci did not dare to think about it now. As a special Dao technique, it would be extremely difficult to deduce the stage of the Dao of heaven and earth. Soon, another year had passed. New Moon Era 111, August 8th. The first stage of the competition in each of the 3,600 star zones had ended. The finals of the 9 zones Genius Tournament had begun. Jiang Ci rushed from Earth to planet Sanglan. Waterfront City's teleportation hall. Guard Captain Gong Shi's eyes lit up when he saw Jiang Ci. Greetings, Lord Jiang Xi. Gong Shi made an exaggerated salute. No need to be so polite. Jiang Xi only smiled lightly, then waved his hand and left. Gong Shi and Shen Wanzi were good friends, and they had met a few times over the years. Thank you, Lord Jiang Xi. I wish you a great victory in the finals. Gong Shi's face was full of smiles as he sent Jiang Xi out of the hall. He looked at riverwards back and muttered in his heart, Your Excellency, you must get a good ranking. After Jiang Xi left the teleportation hall, he wiped his face and changed his appearance. If he walked back to Daoda Manor with his real appearance, he would definitely be surrounded by people all the way. It would be the next day when he returned. He had no choice. He was too famous now. Now, the people of planet Songlan regarded him as their hope and glory. After returning to Daoda Manor, Jiang Daodu was busy with the Mountain Sea Star trade, so she didn't stay on Earth for long and had already returned. She knew that Jiang Xi was going to participate in the finals tomorrow, so she had arranged everything in advance. For example, the defense array of the manor, the meditation array of the training room, and so on were all checked many times. She ensured that there wouldn't be any accidents on the way. Jiang Xi was quite satisfied with this. The little girl was becoming more and more considerate. Brother, do your best. Jiang Daodu waved her fist, even more excited than Jiang Xi. Just wait and see. Jiang Xi nodded vigorously. Then, he closed his eyes and entered the Tongtian Mountain River, painting through the communication bead. It was the Starry Sky continent that he had arrived at the end of the last round-robin competition. Jiang Xi later learned the name of this continent. It was called Kanglan Continent. 3,600 contestants from the Kanglan Star region were gathered here. Jiang Xi, over here. Mu Ning called out to him again. Jiang Xi walked over with a smile. This young shepherd boy wearing a straw hat and a short shirt looked very excited. Jiang Xi, have you seen the information of the geniuses from the other star regions? There are many experts. Mu Ning asked. Are you afraid? Jiang Xi asked back. What's there to be afraid of? Mu Ning glared at him. Then, he asked curiously, by the way, you've improved so quickly. Did you improve again in the past year? No. Jiang Xi shook his head. I don't believe it. Ha, believe it or not. Chapter 318. Jiang Xi didn't want to explain. No means no. The Tao of heaven and earth was indeed difficult to deduce. Over the past year, he hadn't made any breakthroughs in the Gale domain and the Fire domain. However, the feeling of a breakthrough was getting clearer and clearer. Soon. While Jiang Xi and Mu Ning were talking, the other young geniuses of the Kanglan Star region were also full of excitement and anticipation. Even though they knew that their strength might be a little weaker, everyone still hoped to get lucky and get a good ranking in the finals of the 9 regions genius battle. If they were lucky enough to enter the Purple Heaven sect, they would have a meteoric rise. After a while, the burly man with a long beard and a long saber on his back appeared again in the sky above the Kanglan continent. My name is Wei Sheng. I will lead you to participate in the finals of the 9 regions genius battle. His voice echoed on the continent. Greetings, Lord Wei Sheng. Many geniuses immediately saluted. While Jiang Xi saluted, he thought to himself, sure enough, it's the Tao Reunion, old ancestor of the Zhangyan sect. He also had a good impression of this burly man because Wei Sheng was now Shen Tian's master. They were family. Wei Sheng nodded slightly. His dignified eyes made people not dare to look directly at him. He fixed his eyes on Mu Ning and said, Mu Ning, this time, among the 3,600 geniuses of the Kanglan Star region, you are the only one who has a chance to enter the top 10 of the finals. I hope you can perform well in the finals and win glory for the Kanglan Star region and wash away the shame of the Kanglan Star region for countless years. Mu Ning will remember. Mu Ning replied respectfully. In addition, Wei Xing glanced around and said, "Only Jiang Ci has the strength to make a breakthrough. As for the others, I hope you can perform better and do your best. Don't embarrass the Kanglan Star region." The geniuses present were immediately a little unconvinced. Although they knew that their strength was worse than Jiang Ci and Mu Ning's, it was uncomfortable to be said in public like this. Unconvinced? Very well, I hope you can hold your breath. In the finals of the 9 regions genius battle, there have been cases of sudden breakthroughs. If any of you can have a big explosion, I will personally reward him. Wei Xing sneered as soon as these words were spoken. The eyes of the geniuses lit up and they were filled with battle intent. Although Wei Xing was expressionless, he nodded in satisfaction in his heart. The effect of the lecture was very good. All right, it's about time. I'll bring you to the Purple Clouds continent. Wei Xing waved his hand, and the Milky Way spun. In the blink of an eye, everyone found themselves in a different environment. He was standing on a green jade platform that was millions of square kilometers in size. And this green jade platform was located on an even more vast continent. Purple Clouds continent. At this time, on the green jade platform, there was a sea of people, stretching as far as the eye could see. Each of the 3,600 star zones of the Tao Alliance had sent 3,600 geniuses to participate in the finals. In total, there were 96 million people gathered here. Just looking at the numbers, he didn't think much of it. But now that he saw so many people with his own eyes, the feeling was completely different. The geniuses of the Kanglan Star region were shocked to see this. How are we going to compete? Jiang Ci was puzzled. Or mix the people together, fight each other, and survive to the end? He shook his head. If it was that simple, it would be too lame. At the same time, the people of the Kanglan Star region arrived. The people of the other star zones immediately turned their attention to them. The people of the Kanglan Star region are here. Which one is Mu Ning? I think it's that young shepherd boy who doesn't wear shoes and a straw hat. Our sect master said that this person has the strength to make it to the top 10 of the finals. I wonder if it's true. Anyway, he's a strong opponent. I remember there's a guy named Jiang Ci in the Kanglan Star region. I heard that his strength is also not bad. He's a so-so. He's only in the top 300 or 500. He's not worth paying attention to. You're talking as if you can make it to the top 500. Everyone's attention was obviously on Mu Ning. As for Jiang Ci, as someone said just now, he was not worth paying attention to. With the mentality of watching a show, they would only look up and not down. Jiang Ci's expression was very indifferent. The other geniuses of the Kanglan Star region were indignant because no one paid attention to them. At this time, 3,600 geniuses from another star zone were transmitted over. It's Ji Wei. Ji Wei is here. Our sacred master said that Ji Wei's strength has already determined that he will be the first in this year's finals. What's his strength? On the huge green jade platform, exclamations rose and fell one after another. It was an uproar. An indifferent young man with a wisp of white hair on his forehead walked in front of the geniuses of the Thousand-Bird Star region and came to the green jade platform. Jiang Ci and Mu Ning also looked over. He's very strong. He's even stronger than what the information said. He's the real freak. Mu Ning's expression was solemn. It's not time to admit defeat yet, Jiang Ci said with a smile. Of course. I'm not afraid of him. Mu Ning snorted. Then, the geniuses of various star zones arrived one after another. On this huge green jade platform, they were divided into 3,600 square arrays and arranged neatly. The Tao reunion experts of each star zone stood in the air above their respective arrays, waiting quietly. After an unknown period of time, 2 huge figures appeared in the starry sky. One of them was a man in a green robe with disheveled hair. The other was a man in a suit of armor with a handsome face. They were Immortal Yi and Chu Xian, who were supervising the 9 zones genius battle. My name is Yi Liang, the man in the green robe said leisurely. My name is Chu He, the man in the suit of armor said in a low voice. The 3,600 Tao reunion experts immediately bowed respectfully and said in unison, "Greetings, exalted immortals. Greetings, exalted immortals." The 129. 6 million young geniuses also bowed along with the Tao reunion experts. But many people were confused, especially those who didn't have a master. They didn't understand what exalted immortals were. Exalted immortals? Were they immortals? Jiang Ci was only a little surprised, but he wasn't particularly shocked. Because in the inheritance memory left by Taoist Gu, there was also an introduction to the existence above Tao reunion. Tao reunion experts had a lifespan of at most 10,000 years. Their lifespan could only be extended when their cultivation reached a higher level. And the realm after Tao reunion was Tribulation Transcender. There were 9 tribulations in total. One tribulation was 10,000 years. In other words, the lifespan of a tribulation transcender could reach up to 100,000 years. I didn't expect 2 tribulation transcenders to preside over the finals. After all, it's a battle of geniuses that covers the entire human race in the universe. Jiang Ci understood. Just as this thought came to his mind. At this moment, another figure appeared in the starry sky. This figure was a middle-aged man with a resolute face wearing blood-red armor. This person seemed to be an existence of another level of life, and the entire starry sky faintly seemed to be in harmony with him. His iron-blooded aura spread throughout the entire purple clouds continent, giving people a kind of pressure that came from the depths of their souls. People couldn't help but tremble. He was too strong. What realm was this expert at? Chapter 319. Greetings, true monarch Iron Mountain. Immortal Yi Liang and Immortal Chu He were the first to bow to the middle-aged man. As soon as they bowed, the other Tao integration experts and geniuses did not dare to stop. Greetings, true monarch Iron Mountain. Orderly and loud voices echoed in the starry sky. Jiang Ci was truly shocked. True monarch. It was actually a true monarch. Those with such a title were definitely above the tribulation transcender realm, Tao immortal. Above the 9 tribulations was Tao immortal. This is ridiculous. The Purple Heavens sect actually sent a Tao immortal to preside over the 9 regions genius battle. Jiang Ci was secretly shocked. There were a total of 3 immortals. This showed how powerful the Purple Heavens sect was. This was also one of the reasons why he did not dare to casually go to the Purple Heavens sect to deliver the inheritance. He could imagine if he told them that he had the Purple Heaven sword manual. With so many immortals in the Purple Heavens sect, any one of them who acted cruelly would be able to dissect his soul. Moreover, he might feel that such an act was cruel. But in the eyes of an immortal, he was just an ant. After everyone finished bowing, true monarch Iron Mountain looked expressionlessly at the 129. 6 million young geniuses, and his hoarse voice echoed throughout the Purple Heaven continent. In this 9 regions genius battle, I hope you will do your best to achieve good results and strive to become a disciple of the Purple Heaven sect. Those who fail, do not give up. Continue to work hard and contribute to the strengthening of the human race. We will remember your words, everyone said in unison. True monarch Iron Mountain nodded and disappeared. The pressure that lingered in the depths of his soul also dissipated. In the starry sky, Immortal Yi Liang and Immortal Chu He looked at each other in surprise. I didn't expect true monarch Iron Mountain to come personally. It seems that the 3 geniuses who comprehended the Tao of heaven and earth in this 9 regions genius battle have attracted the attention of the perfected monarch. Then, the 2 suppressed their surprise. Immortal Yi Liang said to the geniuses, "Let's first talk about the rules of the 9 regions genius battle." Everyone on the green jade platform immediately looked over. Immortal Yi Liang continued. In this final, there are a total of 129. 6 million participants in the 9 regions. Only 3,600 people can enter the Purple Heaven sect. First of all, the first stage is the Qingyun Dao trial. We have prepared an illusory space for each contestant. Every illusory space has 9 Qingyun paths. Each Qingyun Dao is divided into 9 trial spaces, each of which has a certain number of points. What you have to do is to go through the Qingyun Dao trial and gain points. The more points you have, the higher your ranking will be. Everyone only has one chance. Death is the end. After everyone dies, according to the final ranking, the first to the 360th can directly enter my Purple Heavens sect and become a disciple of the 9th heaven. From 361 to 13320, there are a total of 12,960 people. After 2 more rounds of the challenge tournament, the remaining 3,240 people will be chosen. These people can also directly enter my Purple Heavens sect and become disciples of the 9th heaven. As for the others, they're all eliminated. All eliminated, these words echoed throughout the entire Purple Clouds continent and the starry sky. All the geniuses were stunned. Jiang Ci was even more shocked. Just now, he was still thinking about how to compete in the finals. Unexpectedly, the rules given by the Purple Heavens sect were so simple and crude. More than 10 million people were eliminated in just one round. The top 3,600 people of the finals were selected. Suddenly, Jiang Ci was stunned. Qingyun Dao, 9 steps, Lingwan Road, 9 steps, they were so similar. Could there be a connection? Get ready, I will teleport you to your respective illusory space later. The voice of the immortal sounded again. The green jade platform that covered an area of millions of square kilometers was suddenly in an uproar. More than 10 million geniuses could no longer hold it in and started discussing. There are a total of 9 Qingyun Dao trials in the Qingyun Dao trial. The trial will definitely be more and more difficult. I wonder how many steps we have to pass before we have a chance to enter the top 13320. In short, the more we pass, the better. It seems cruel, but it's actually an opportunity. If it's really a battle royale or a challenge tournament, once we encounter those crazy people, we'll be eliminated. However, there are more opportunities in this kind of trial. Many geniuses who were previously just going through the motions reignited hope in their hearts at this moment. As long as they entered the top 13,320, they would be able to enter the next round. After 2 more challenge tournaments, they would be able to enter the top 3,600 and become a disciple of the Purple Heavens sect. Jiang Ci, why don't we compete to see who has a higher ranking in the Qingyun Dao? Mu Ning raised his eyebrows. At this moment, Jiang Ci was still shocked by the relationship between Lingwan Road and the Qingyun Dao. Hearing this, he laughed and said, "No. I'm just giving it a try. If you win, I'll play you a new song." "Come on, listening to your song will kill me." "Hey, I only have a few songs that can kill people. The rest are all good. How many more songs do you want?" Mu Ning insisted again and again. In the end, Jiang Ci couldn't dissuade the innocent young man and agreed. "Isn't it just listening to songs?" After a while, the immortal's voice sounded again. The Qingyun Dao trial begins. All of a sudden, the galaxy rotated and everyone disappeared under the power of teleportation. Jiang Ci appeared in a bright and boundless space. Although he looked calm on the surface, his heart was in turmoil. In this illusory space, there were 9 Qingyun Dao paths made of green jade. They were numbered 1 to 9. Each Qingyun Dao path had 9 giant stone steps. This scene was too familiar. There was such an illusory space in the heavenly pavilion of the second grotto heaven of the Jade Pool mystic realm. However, in the illusory space in the heavenly pavilion, there was only one Lingwan road made of white jade. However, there were 9 Qingyun Dao paths made of green jade. Could it be that this heavenly mountain river painting has some kind of connection with the Jade Pool mystic realm? To be more specific, is it related to the heavenly pavilion? Jiang Ci couldn't help but think so. He still remembered the last words that the spirit of the illusion, Ni Shang, had entrusted to him in the illusory space of the heavenly pavilion. Ni Shang told him to return to the heavenly pavilion after he cultivated his essence soul. By then, there would be great benefits for him. The heavenly mountain river painting was the supreme treasure of the Tao Alliance. What was the heavenly pavilion then? Jiang Xi's heart raced and he tried his best to suppress the shock in his heart. At this moment, a clear and crisp female voice sounded. Trial taker, please pay attention to the rules of the Qingyun Dao trial. Jiang Xi took a deep breath and temporarily put aside the suspicions and shock in his heart. He looked at a stone tablet in front of the 9 Qingyun Dao paths. The specific rules of this trial were written on it. Each of the 9 Lingwan Road has 9 steps, and each step corresponds to a trial space. There are 100 trial targets in each level of the trial space. Kill all the trial targets and you will pass the trial. If you survive for 30 days, you will also pass the trial and continue to the next trial. Chapter 320. Jiang Xi continued to read on, only to see that there was a way to obtain points at the end. The points of the trial taker are determined according to the trial targets killed. The more you kill, the more points you will get. The specific points are as follows. The first Qingyun path, the 9th trial space, 1 point will be awarded for each trial target killed, totaling to 900 points. The second Qingyun path, the 9th trial space, 10 points will be awarded for each trial target killed, totaling to 9,000 points. For each Qingyun path, the points of each trial target will be increased by 10 times. For the 9th Qingyun path, the 9th trial space, 100 million points will be awarded for each trial target killed, totaling to 90 billion points. Jiang Xi took a deep breath and pondered for a while. I just don't know the specific difficulty of the trial. According to Immortal Liang just now, the final ranking will only be determined after everyone dies. In other words, none of the more than 10 million geniuses can pass all 9 Qingyun paths. Although Jiang Xi had the experience of going through Lingwan Road on Earth, he was also worried that his experience would be wrong at this time. The rules of the Qingyun path and Lingwan Road were similar, but it did not mean that the trial targets inside were similar. Hence, he did not let his guard down and instead focused 120% of his attention to take this trial seriously. He strode towards the first step of the first Qingyun path. Before he went up, Jiang Xi suddenly stopped in his tracks. In a flash of inspiration, an idea surfaced in his mind. There are 2 ways to pass each trial, either to kill all trial targets or to persist for 30 days without dying. Then what if I can last for a full 30 days in each level of the trial space, and only finish off all the trial targets at the last moment? In that case, there will be 270 days in 1 Qingyun path, which means that there will be 9 Qingyun paths in 2,430 days. That's more than 6 years. Jiang Xi's eyes lit up as he saw new hope. With that time, he could continue to deduce Tao techniques. If he broke through, his strength would be improved. If I do that, my ranking in the early stages of the trial may be much lower, or even at the bottom. However, once I break through, there will be great progress. Even if my luck is terrible and I don't succeed in my deduction, with my strength, as long as I don't die, I'll be able to catch up. Moreover, Jiang Xi's sharp intuition told him that he was about to succeed. After all, the deduction of the Gale domain and Ignis domain had already taken a long time, consumed a huge amount of EXP, and had been blackfaced so many times. If he still didn't succeed, it would be too unreasonable. With that thought in mind, Jiang Xi stepped onto the first step. He immediately used his spiritual senses and entered the first trial space of the first stage of the Qingyun Dao. First, there was a bluestone round platform similar to the one in Lingwan Road. Next to it stood a bluestone pillar. Words appeared on it. Participant, Jiang Xi points, 0 ranking, none. There was a line of words below, which made Jiang Xi even more certain that his assumption was correct. If you can kill them all or survive for 30 days, you will pass the trial. After that, it was the familiar equipment selection process. Jiang Xi chose the supreme grade spirit weapon, the Killer Shadow Sword. After everything was ready, the spirit of the illusion of the Qingyun Dao said, "Participant, please kill 100 dragon pythons of the demon race within 30 days. Dragon pythons? Jiang Xi was stunned for a moment. I'm going to get the top demon bloodline right away. On Earth, he could easily defeat the dragon pythons. What about here? In the next moment, the space changed and a vast swamp appeared outside the bluestone round platform. There were dark clouds and black rain while lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Roar! Kill the humans! Drink their blood and eat their flesh! 100 dragon pythons with wings on their backs hovered above the swamp, emitting a monstrous ferocious aura as they roared at Jiang Xi. These dragon pythons are all at the perfected nascent soul realm. Jiang Xi was slightly shocked, but he soon regained his composure. He leaped and took the initiative to rush out. The Dao runes emitted by the dragon pythons were not strong. Their Dao realm was very low, but their cultivation level was high. In addition, their bloodline power was definitely much stronger. However, when Jiang Xi used the sword domain to easily kill a dragon python, he was confident. Kill 99 of them first and leave the last one alive. Yes, that's it. At the same time, in the Tongtian River diagram of the Purple Clouds continent, Immortal Iliang and Immortal Chuha had been standing in the starry sky, supervising the progress of the 9 regions genius battle. Below, on the huge green jade platform, 3,600 Dao integration powerhouses were gathered together and chatting with each other. According to the rules, the Qingyun Dao trial of the 9 regions genius battle would only be announced to the public with a simple ranking. The specific trial content was confidential. They would only continue to use the Tongtian River diagram to spread the news of the battle to the entire 9 regions of the Dao Alliance. However, the Dao integration powerhouses had the authority to check the situation of the various illusory spaces of the Qingyun Dao trial. 5 poisons, your disciple is very impressive. He even entered the top 10 in the first trial space of the Qingyun Dao trial. A Dao integration powerhouse from the Qianyao Star region exclaimed in surprise. You flatter me. I can't compare to Ji Wei from the Qianyao Star region. That young man is really strong. Although the 5 poisons shook his head, his face was full of pride. It was true that Ji Wei came from the Qianyao Star region, but he was not the disciple of that Dao integration powerhouse. However, the 5 poisons disciple had temporarily entered the top 10, so the significance was different. Ji Wei is indeed impressive. Others are still working hard in the first Qingyun Dao trial, but he's about to enter the second one. He's indeed a rare genius of the Dao Alliance. The other Dao integration powerhouses also sighed and changed the topic to Ji Wei. On the other hand, the Dao integration powerhouse of the Kanglan Star region, Wei Sheng, remained silent and frowned. It's normal for Mu Ning to enter the top 20. But what is that little fellow, Jiang Xi, doing? He stopped after killing 99 of them. He could observe the situation in the illusory space that Jiang Xi was in. After Jiang Xi easily killed 99 dragon pythons, he trapped the last dragon python with the power of his domain. Then, he sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate. Wei Sheng valued Jiang Xi very much. This was because his new disciple, Xian Tian, was Jiang Xi's sworn brother. The two of them were also related by blood. Now, Jiang Xi's passive attitude towards the competition made him feel a little embarrassed. All 96 million people were desperately trying to pass the trial, but Jiang Xi was the only one who was leisurely. At this moment, the 5 poisons and some other Dao integration powerhouses came to Wei Sheng. Old Wei, I remember that the Kanglan Star region is known as the star region with the best interstellar trade in the Zixiao domain. However, in the past 50,000 years, no one has been able to enter the top 3,600 in the 9 regions genius battle. This time, there are actually 2 people who have a chance to enter. That's really rare. The 5 poisons spoke in a strange tone, and it was unknown whether he had good or bad intentions. Wei Sheng's face darkened. What he was afraid of had happened. Others might not be able to tell, but of course, he could. This was malicious. Chapter 321. Wei Sheng's face was sullen. The reason being, he and the Five Poisons old geezer had a feud in the early years. It even developed to the point of a life-and-death duel, which was later resolved after the mediation of the higher-ups. The Five Poisons old geezer mentioned the shameful record of the Pale Blue Star region in front of so many people because he naturally wanted to embarrass him. Let me see the ranking of the two geniuses in your star region. The Five Poisons old geezer went to check the trial situation of the Pale Blue Star region. Mu Ning, not bad, he's ranked 19th. It's a pity that such a genius was born in the Pale Blue Star region. Jiang Xi, ha! This little guy is really something. He's ranked more than 10 million. Old Wei, is this the genius of the Pale Blue Star region? The Five Poisons old geezer looked shocked. Some other Dao integration powerhouses also laughed. Anyway, they were just there to watch the fun. Of course, they saw Jiang Xi's trial situation. In the finals of the 9 regions genius battle, it was rare to see someone not working hard. As for the feud between Wei Sheng and the Five Poisons old geezer, many of the Dao integration powerhouses present knew about it. Humph. With a sullen face, Wei Sheng's body flickered and he went somewhere else. This little guy dares to be passive and slack off in the finals. When the trial is over, I must teach him a good lesson. Soon, more than a month passed. In the illusory space of the Qingyun Dao, Jiang Xi was in the second trial space of the first Qingyun Dao. The trial space was a world of flames. The target of the trial was a strange life form, the flame giant, which did not belong to the demon race. A mature flame giant could easily eat a star and was extremely powerful. However, there were 100 flame giants who were at the perfected nascent soul realm and were not mature. Although they were stronger than most human cultivators who were at the perfected nascent soul realm, they were still no match for Jiang Xi. 99 of them had already been killed by Jiang Xi, leaving only one flame giant that was bound by the power of the domain and roaring continuously. Jiang Xi was silently chanting at the side, deduce, deduce, deduce. The deduction of the Gale domain and distant fire domain was carried out at the same time. Suddenly, in a trance, Riverward sensed that something had descended. However, it was not in the Heavenspan Mountain River diagram, but in the outside world. Blue Planet, Daoda Manor, Training Room. The nascent soul in Jiang Xi's lower dantian emitted an invisible wave, which connected with the invisible wave descending from heaven and earth. A wisp of dark redly fire suddenly appeared in the nascent soul's left palm. He had broken through. You have comprehended the Tao of Fire. Experience points plus 10 million. At the same time, the EXP panel beeped. Jiang Xi was pleasantly surprised, but he didn't make any big movements on the surface. He knew that the two immortals and Dao integration experts could see the situation in the illusory space. Previously, I spent a huge amount of experience points and spent a long time on it, but I was still unable to succeed. To think that I would succeed in just a month. That being said, Riverward also knew that this was the result of a qualitative change due to a quantitative change. Deducing the Gale domain and Ignis domain has cost more than 2.6 billion EXP. That's 1.3 billion EXP on average. 1.3 billion EXP, this kind of consumption was not small. Besides, that was only one type of breakthrough. The Gale domain had yet to be broken through, that's not all. There's also the Sword domain, which is even more difficult to deduce. The Sword domain was a special level Dermic Dao. If he wanted to deduce the next realm, he would probably need a massive amount of EXP. He secretly opened the EXP panel to check. Cultivation level, Nascent Soul, Late Stage 1, 06 million/1. 06 million, Dermic Dao, Dao of Fire, 15 million, Gale Domain, 5000000/5000000, Sword Domain, 10.0000000/10.0000000 amplitude, 200 deduction, 10,000 exp once cultivation method, Purple Cloud Sword Sutra, Peacock Visualization Experience Points, 920. 88 million. I only have more than 900 million exp left. It's still not enough. Jiang Xi shook his head and did not dwell on this issue. Instead, he focused his attention on the Tao of Fire that he had just broken through. He was still undergoing the Qingyun Tao trial, and improving his strength was his top priority. 50 million exp for upgrading is still acceptable. Jiang Xi heaved a sigh of relief. He was afraid that he would have to spend tens of billions of exp for upgrading. Now that he had broken through, the next step was to improve his dermic Tao. However, there was now a problem. He was in the state of a spiritual body in the Tongtian Mountain River painting. His body outside was in the midst of meditation and cultivation, so he couldn't move. In other words, he couldn't provide a large amount of spiritual energy by eating spiritual fruits. In that case, it would be impossible to increase the exp of the Tao of Fire in a short period of time. My current cultivation level is at the perfected nascent soul realm, and the maximum amount of exp that I can gain every day is 4,200 points. Experience points are magical. It's different from the experience points gained from killing monsters in games. Without the assistance of spiritual energy, I can increase my experience points. Even if I'm at the perfected nascent soul realm, my body can only withstand so much exp every day. However, in terms of dermic Tao, I can increase it by 8,400 exp every day. Thinking of this, Jiang Xi laughed. It was because of a battle that happened a long time ago. When he first embarked on the path of martial arts, he had a battle with Shin Quan in Pak Sun province on Earth. At that time, he used the exp panel to improve his martial arts techniques because he had improved too much in a short period of time. It exceeded the limit that his mental consciousness could bear and he almost died. When he woke up, he discovered that the limit of his mental endurance had increased. The daily exp increase in his martial arts techniques had become twice that of his level. Even if his martial arts techniques evolved into dermic Tao, the multiplier remained the same and had always existed. I didn't expect that my desperate efforts in the early years would come in handy now. Now, he could use all the 8,400 exp that he could gain every day to improve the Tao of Fire. He would improve it step by step and see how far he could go in the Qingyun Tao trial. Soon, Jiang Xi persisted for 30 days in the second trial space of the first Qingyun Tao trial. He killed the roaring flame giant with one sword and passed the trial. You have passed the second trial of the Qingyun Tao, exp +2. 1 million, hearing the prompt, Jiang Xi laughed again. That was the same as the Ling Wan Road of the Jade Pool. After each trial was completed, there would be exp rewards. However, the exp given here was more. The first trial of the Qingyun Tao gave him 2 million exp. According to the increase, he would gain 100,000 exp for each subsequent level. It's a good bonus. I'll definitely get more at the end. Jiang Xi was even more motivated as he stepped on the next step. The space changed and the trial scene this time was a world of rugged rocks. Trial taker, please kill 100 golden-winged condors within 30 days. 100 massive golden-winged condors suddenly appeared in the air, each with a wingspan of tens of thousands of feet. They covered the sky and emitted a menacing aura as they pounced on Jiang Xi. Let's see my strength after the breakthrough first. Chapter 322. The golden-winged rock condor has the top bloodline of the demon race. Rumor has it that it's the descendant of the golden-winged rock. Jiang Xi held the killing shadow sword and charged forward. The Tao runes that were filled with the light of Li Fire instantly spread to a radius of 1,000 kilometers. The Tao of Li Fire descended. The Tao of Li Fire that had just broken through was integrated into Jiang Xi's sword. Whoosh! The dark red sword shadow that was 100,000 feet long roared and swept out. It killed more than half of the golden-winged rock condors with one strike. Not bad, it's very strong. Although the experience of the Tao of Leaf Fire did not increase by much, it did not even reach the first level. However, after changing from the Leaf Fire domain to the Tao of Leaf Fire, the attribute of the Tao of Leaf Fire had undergone a qualitative change. Under the blessing of the Tao runes, the power of his sword increased sharply. The Tao of Leaf Fire is a rare Tao technique. If the experience of the Tao technique is higher, my ranking in the finals will be higher. Jiang Xi's eyes were glowing. Next, he would continue to improve his Tao technique experience using the time of each level of the Qingyun Tao trial. On the green jade platform in the purple clouds continent of the Tongtian Mountain River diagram. When Wei Sheng saw the scene of Jiang Xi killing dozens of golden-winged rock condors with one sword, his sullen face finally eased a little. However, in the next moment, the expression on his face stiffened again. It was because Jiang Xi had once again repeated the rhythm of the first two levels of the trial space. He only left a golden-winged rock condor behind and then began to cultivate again, this little guy. Wei Sheng was a little helpless. Of course, he discovered that Jiang Xi had already broken through and comprehended a rare Tao of heaven and earth. Although he was surprised, he was also puzzled. Since he had already broken through, shouldn't he go all out and rush up? If he continued to cultivate using the time of each level of the trial, he shouldn't be able to improve much, right? Cultivating a rare Tao of heaven and earth, even if one's talent and comprehension were high, it would take a decade or 100 years to improve. What could the Qingyun Tao do in such a short amount of time? Besides, there were so many people watching, couldn't he perform well and be more proactive? Wei Sheng had indeed been feeling uncomfortable during this period of time because the five poisons had been using Jiang Xi's negative attitude towards the competition and mocked him from time to time. Even though everyone knew that Jiang Xi was cultivating, Jiang Xi was still cultivating. But as an enemy, the five poisons ghost did not care so much. The only one who made Wei Sheng feel better was another genius from the Kanglan Star region, Mu Ning. He's working hard and is about to enter the top 10. Outside, on the pale blue planet. The huge painting of mountains and rivers hanging in the sky only showed the ranking of the Qingyun Tao trial. That genius called Ji Wei is too terrifying. Others are still working hard on the first two Qingyun paths, but he's already challenging the fourth one. Mu Ning from our Kanglan Star region is also not bad. He ranked 13th in the trial. By the way, what's Jiang Xi's ranking? I haven't seen him for a long time. I remember he was counting down last month. When everyone looked around and found that Jiang Xi was still at the bottom of the list, they immediately became lively. It can't be. The hope and glory of the blue planet have been destroyed just like that? I don't believe it. With Jiang Xi's strength, even if he wanted to hide, he should have rushed into the top 10,000 by now, right? He's already in the bottom 10,000. It seems that the glory of the blue planet still has to be fought for by Feng Si of the Zhangyan sect. He has already rushed into the top 10,000. For a moment, there was a flurry of discussion. There were all kinds of guesses whether they believed in Jiang Xi or not Jiang Xi. Of course, most of them didn't believe it. Due to the fact that they couldn't see the specific scene of the trial, everyone could only judge the situation of the trial based on the rankings. Hence, many people thought that Jiang Xi's previous performance in the division battle might have been short-lived. Now that it was the finals, his strength couldn't keep up with the countless geniuses of the 9 regions, soaring Rainbow Planet. Yuan Zhangshua happily drank 3 cups of wine, and his hearty laughter echoed throughout the entire palace. Good. Just like that, I'll stay at the bottom. The lower, the better. He was now full of hatred for Jiang Xi. The reason was simple. He didn't know who it was, but someone spread the news that he had a conflict with Jiang Xi. Now, his competitors in the Soaring Rainbow sect were all using this matter to attack him and take the opportunity to weaken his strength. If the sect leader wasn't his great-grandfather, he would have been kicked out of the list of successors by now. And the source of all this was because of River Word. In the blink of an eye, it was the second year of the Qingyun Tao trial. 12. 96 million people basically passed the first Qingyun Dao trial. The second Qingyun Dao trial became a watershed. Almost every trial space could eliminate at least 1 million people. By the time they reached the third Qingyun Dao trial, there were only more than 800,000 people left in the trial. The competition for the ranking of the trial was also extremely intense. In particular, the top 10 places were constantly changing. Except for Ji Wei. This terrifying genius had already rushed to the sixth Qingyun Dao trial. The second place was still in the fourth, he was 2 major ranks ahead. It was almost certain that he was the first place in the trial. However, the most speechless thing was that Jiang Xi, who was crawling slowly in the Qingyun Dao trial like a snail, was actually still alive. He had already reached the third step of the second Qingyun Dao trial. His ranking in the trial had also climbed from more than 10 million to more than 8 million. On the huge green jade platform of the Purple Clouds continent, silhouettes appeared one after another. They were all people who had been eliminated by the Qingyun Dao trial and had reappeared there. Many of them seemed to have just taken an exam and were comparing their answers. Which step were you eliminated at? I was at the fourth step. The soul-devouring ants of this Qingyun Dao trial are too strong. I died as soon as the battle began. We're the same then. I'm also at the fourth step and I killed more than 30 soul-devouring ants. Oh, I'm at the fourth step of the third Qingyun Dao trial. Damn it, I'm second. After everyone compared their results, they turned their attention to the ranking of the trial. Due to the fact that only the 2 immortals and those Dao integration powerhouses could check each illusory space. Hence, the eliminated geniuses could only pay attention to the trial of others through the ranking. The people of the Kanglan Star region naturally paid attention to Mu Ning and Jiang Xi, the 2 representative geniuses. Then, they discovered the abnormality of Jiang Xi's ranking in the trial. They quickly deduced the total time taken to pass the trial and the rank of the Qingyun Dao trial. Jiang Xi persisted for 30 days in each step of the trial in the Qingyun Dao trial before passing it. This guy wants to use this time to cultivate and make a breakthrough. He's already very strong. Using the rules to waste time like this is too embarrassing. There are so many powerhouses watching. Their discussion attracted the attention of the people from the other star regions. Hence, Jiang Xi's name spread among the geniuses of the various star regions. Soon, almost all the people who had been eliminated found out. There was a genius with good strength in this 9 regions genius battle. He was using the trial time of the finals to cultivate. Such a situation was rare. Everyone immediately became interested and began to pay attention to Jiang Xi. Chapter 323. The number of people paying attention to Jiang Xi gradually increased. Of course, there were more than 10 million geniuses who had thought about it before. They wanted to persist in each trial space for a full 30 days and use that time to cultivate. However, they did not succeed in the end. Firstly, without Jiang Xi's strength, they couldn't easily kill 99 trial targets and leave only 1 alive. Secondly, they couldn't do such a thing under the watchful eyes of so many powerhouses. Time passed, and when the 3rd year ended, the Qingyun Dao trial was in its 4th year. The number of people who were still persisting in the trial was less than 10,000. Ji Wei was still in first place in the trial. He was a genius with breathtaking talent and was about to complete the 8th Qingyun Dao. He had left the others far behind. For example, the person in second place was still working hard on the 6th Qingyun Dao. However, that was not the focus of everyone's attention. Everyone was looking at one person, Jiang Xi. Why hasn't he been eliminated yet? Why is he still alive? Not only was he alive, but he had also reached the first step of the 5th Qingyun Dao and was ranked in the top 10,000. In the past 3 years, everyone looked at Riverward's ranking. It was like a snail, steadily climbing up step by step. Many people were numb. At this point, everyone was clear that Jiang Xi was going to persist in each trial space for a full 30 days. Although Wei Sheng, the Dao integration powerhouse of the Kanglan Star region, was still a little helpless. His expression was getting better and better. He was even a little expectant that Su Changyu might be able to give him a surprise. The reason being, he could tell that Jiang Xi's dermic Dao strength was improving bit by bit. Even if the 5 poisons old geezer would still mock him from time to time, he would pretend that he didn't hear anything. As Jiang Xi's ranking rose, the 5 poisons old geezer would only mock him less and less. In the sky above the purple clouds continent. With their powerful immortal senses, Immortal Yi Liang and Immortal Chuha could monitor the situation of everyone's trial at the same time. That little guy is taking things one step at a time and fighting steadily. I admire his attitude. Immortal Yi Liang said with a smile. Don't you think that his dermic Dao is improving a little too quickly? He only comprehended the Dao of fire 3 years ago. Now, he has already surpassed the first level. Immortal Chuha said solemnly. What's so special about that? One word, genius. Immortal Yi Liang chuckled. Genius? Someone like Ji Wei was a true genius. After 3 years, he did not stop for even a moment. He was about to reach the 9th Qingyun path. As I recall, it has been over 1,000,000 years since anyone has reached this stage in the finals of the 9 regions genius battle. Immortal Chuha said. You're just a little old-fashioned. Geniuses aren't made from the same mold. Let's wait and see. I think Jiang Xi can give us a surprise. Immortal Yi Liang cast his gaze towards the illusory space. He could see that Jiang Xi was seated in the lotus position, cultivating. Immortal Chuha didn't argue, he had high hopes for Ji Wei. He was not the only one. In fact, almost everyone was optimistic about Ji Wei. Of course, no one would compare Jiang Xi with Ji Wei. Because they were not on the same level at all. Ji Wei was about to reach the 9th Qingyun path. Jiang Xi had just reached the 5th Qingyun path. Look, Ji Wei is starting to challenge the 9th Qingyun path. Immortal Chuha's eyes lit up. Immortal Yi Liang also hurriedly looked over. At the same time, the Dao integration experts below also shifted their attention from Jiang Xi to Ji Wei. After all, this concerned the record of the 9 regions genius battle and was more worthy of attention. No matter what Ji Wei's final result is, he has created a new record. Yeah, in the past 1,000,000 years, the best result in the finals of the 9 regions genius battle was the 9th step of the 8th Qingyun path. While everyone was discussing. In the illusory space, the cold-looking young man with a lock of white hair in front of his forehead stepped onto the 9th Qingyun path with a long sword in hand. In the first trial space, there were still 100 perfected nascent soul dragon pythons. However, the Dao runes of the heaven and earth Dao flowed in the space. Soon, Ji Wei fought with those dragon pythons. However, he was injured in just a moment. This is the first time he's been injured. Immortal Chuha's eyes flashed. Immortal Yi Liang remained silent. Then, Ji Wei erupted, and the space above the boundless lake in the trial space shattered. His figure shuttled through the countless fragments and attacked those dragon pythons. His movement technique was strange and unpredictable. In the end, Ji Wei killed half of the dragon pythons before being torn to pieces by the remaining ones. He was eliminated. However, just half of the dragon pythons gave him 5 billion points. No one could shake his first-place position. Immortal Yi Liang sighed and said, "What a terrifying young man. His strength has already surpassed that of many tribulation transcenders." Immortal Chuha also said, "Yeah, once he reaches the Dao integration realm or even the primordial soul realm, his strength will be comparable to the two of us." Ji Wei's current cultivation was at the perfected nascent soul realm, and he was unable to fully display the power of his Dao integration realm. If he reached the primordial soul realm or the Dao integration realm, he would be able to display even more power. As for tribulation transcenders, these two immortals were very clear that once Ji Wei transcended the tribulation and became an immortal, he would far surpass them. Below, on the huge green jade platform. Whoosh! Ji Wei's figure reappeared on the platform. He was still expressionless as he found an empty corner and sat down cross-legged. He didn't approach others, and others didn't approach him. In the distance, those Dao integration realm powerhouses looked at this young genius that was rarely seen in a million years with complicated feelings. They had suffered a blow. Each of them had cultivated for thousands of years, but their Dao integration realm was inferior to that of a junior. At the same time, those more than 10 million geniuses who had been eliminated. When they saw Ji Wei's figure appear, they understood that Ji Wei had also been eliminated. Although they couldn't see Ji Wei's trial scene, they could see the changes in his ranking points. They knew that Ji Wei had passed the 9th Qingyun path before dying. Everyone was silent. The gap was too big. At this time, Jiang Ci was in the first trial space of the 5th Qingyun path. The trial targets here were also 100 dragon pythons. At this point in the trial, he had already figured out the situation of the trial targets. The trial targets of the 9 trial spaces were different. The trial targets of the first trial space were all dragon pythons of the monster race. The second trial was a strange life form flame giant. The third trial was a golden-winged condor of the monster race. However, the trial targets of the 9 Qingyun paths were arranged the same for each level, except that their strength would increase with each level. After reaching the 5th Qingyun path, the strength of each trial target was at least equivalent to the top 10,000 geniuses of the finals. However, with Jiang Ci's current strength, he could still easily deal with the 100 dragon pythons. He had already killed 99 of them, but there was still one that he had yet to kill. When Ji Wei was eliminated in the first stage of the 9th Qingyun path, Jiang Ci didn't know about it. He was still working hard to cultivate and improve. Jiang Ci only discovered this situation when he passed the first trial and checked his ranking. Chapter 324. After entering the next level of the trial space, Jiang Ci still maintained his previous pace and left one trial target alive. Then, with a thought, he summoned the interface of a light board. It was his ranking in the trial of the Qingyun Dao. Trial participant, Jiang Ci points, 1989900 ranking, 8752, I'll be in the top 5000 after a few more levels. Ha! Jiang Ci's eyes flickered. He finally discovered that there were some changes in the information of Ji Wei, who was in the first place. He was still in the first place, but there were 2 more words behind his name. Trial participant, Ji Wei, eliminated. Besides, Ji Wei's points were also 5 billion more than the last time he looked at the ranking. 5 billion? Each of the trial targets of the 9th Qingyun Dao has 100 million points. With such a huge increase, he must have passed the 9th trial, but he didn't pass the first level of the trial space. Jiang Ci was amazed. Even if he didn't pass the first level, he was still a pervert. After passing the first 8 Qingyun Dao trials perfectly, he still needed 100 points to reach 10 billion. However, the first level of the 9th Qingyun Dao trial already had 10 billion points. Clearly, the trial of the 9th Qingyun Dao trial was extremely difficult. Ji Wei actually managed to kill half of the trial targets of the first level of the Qingyun Dao trial. What terrifying strength! Jiang Ci shook his head and got rid of the shock in his heart. He didn't compare himself to Ji Wei and was still competing with himself. He would improve a little every day and continue like that. It would only end when he reached his limit. He looked at the changes in the experience points panel. Dao of Fire 8725/50 amplitude 256. 96. According to the conversion of experience points, the Dao of Fire is worth 8.72 million experience points, which is equivalent to more than one level. Of course, the Dao of Fire is a rare Dao technique. Even if it's only one level, my strength has obviously improved. In terms of amplitude, although it has only increased by 56.96 times, the increase in actual combat power can't be so simple. Jiang Ci calculated in his heart and had a clear understanding of his own strength. The amplitude was only for spiritual power. The other aspects of the Tao of Fire were not reflected. For example, the Tao runes of Li Fire, the power of the flames of Li Fire itself, and so on. When all of these were put together, the increase in his strength would be more than that. Before the finals of the 9 Zones Genius Tournament began, he had the strength to rank in the top 300. But now, he had the strength to be in the top 100. Time passed, and another year passed. It was now the 5th year of the Qingyun Dao trial. Mu Ning, another genius from the Kanglan Star region, finally made it to the 7th place and was eliminated. And there were only 3 people left who were still in the trial. Wild Waves, currently ranked 4th in the trial. Blood Boy, currently ranked 8th in the trial. Jiang Xie, currently ranked 85th in the trial. Of the top 10, only 2 were not eliminated. However, no one paid attention to Wild Waves and Blood Child. Their eyes were now focused on Jiang Xie. Almost everyone was thinking the same thing: how far could this genius, who had crawled step by step like a snail, reach in the end? In the starry sky of the Purple Clouds continent, in the sky of the towering mountain river diagram, Immortal Yi Liang was all smiles. Immortal Chu He remained silent. Clearly, Jiang Xi's performance had exceeded Immortal Chu He's expectations. Below, on the huge green jade platform, most of the Dao integration powerhouses also fell silent. Only Wei Sheng was smiling more and more. Good lad, well done. Mu Ning from the Kanglan Star region had already made it to the 7th place. However, Jiang Xi was different. His disciple, Xian Tian, was Jiang Xi's sworn brother. In that case, they were family. Hence, Wei Sheng paid more attention to Jiang Xi. Now, Jiang Xi's performance had really exceeded his expectations. He originally thought that Jiang Xi would be able to get into the top 500 in the Qingyun Dao trial. In the end, he had already reached the 85th place. Wei Sheng was in a better mood. He had a hunch that Jiang Xi would bring him more and more surprises. Besides, the 5 Poisons Old Fogey that annoyed him had completely shut up. The disciple of the 5 Poisons Old Fogey had made it to the top 10 in the beginning. However, as the others put in more effort, he only managed to get 124th place in the end. Hence, if anyone continued to talk about Jiang Xi's negative attitude towards the competition, they would be asking for trouble. Who knew what ranking Jiang Xi would eventually reach? In the outside world, on the Kanglan Star, it was the hope and glory of the Kanglan Star region. That title was given to Jiang Xi by the Kanglan Star region's people. It was too inspirational. He went from being in the bottom 10 million to being in the 85th place. He had never given up on getting there. What ranking could Jiang Xi make in the future? Everyone was looking forward to seeing Jiang Xi make it as high as possible. Of course, Jiang Daodu was also paying attention. She had been waiting outside the training room of Daodu Manor and had never left. After seeing Jiang Xi's latest ranking, she smiled knowingly. Soon, Kuang Lang, who was in 4th place, and Xue Tong, who was in 8th place, were eliminated one after another. Kuang Lang stopped in the 9th step of the trial space of the 7th Qingyun Dao trial. Xue Tong was 1 step lower and fell in the 8th step of the 7th Qingyun Dao trial. Out of a total of 96 million geniuses, Jiang Xi was the only one left who was still persisting in the Qingyun Dao trial. In the 5th step of the trial space of the 6th Qingyun Dao trial, Jiang Xi knew about the situation when he saw the word eliminated in the ranking information. 1st place, Ji Wei, was eliminated in the 1st step of the 9th Qingyun Dao trial. 2nd place, Yan Jiufeng, was eliminated in the 2nd step of the 8th Qingyun Dao trial. 3rd place, Mo Hong, was eliminated in the 1st step of the 8th Qingyun Dao trial. The remaining 4th to 30th places were all eliminated in the 7th Qingyun Dao trial. It seems that the 7th Qingyun Dao trial is another watershed. Jiang Xi came to that conclusion after analyzing it. However, he was still not in a hurry and maintained his previous rhythm as he moved forward steadily. To him, time was power. He improved a little every day. Be it the various major star zones outside or the Tongtian Mountain River diagram, there were 2 immortals, 3,600 Dao integration cultivators, and more than 10 million geniuses who had been eliminated. They were all watching Jiang Xi train. He was the last trial taker. Under everyone's gaze, it was the second half of the 5th year of the Qingyun Dao trial. Jiang Xi finally made it to the top 30 of the trial. 29th place. He rushed to the second step of the trial space of the 7th Qingyun Dao trial. The trial targets of this step were still strange life forms, the flame giants. Jiang Xi finally found it strenuous to deal with them. It was because the power of the Tao of Fire could not be perfectly displayed on the flame giants. After putting in a lot of effort, he only managed to kill 99 flame giants. The speed of improvement in dermic Tao strength can no longer keep up with the increase in the difficulty of the trial. Jiang Xi understood that there was not much time left for him to improve the Tao of Fire. Charge to the limit, don't give up until you reach the limit. After the Qingyun Dao trial ended, there would be other battles and there wouldn't be such a good opportunity to improve then. He continued to advance steadily. Chapter 325. The 3rd, 4th, and 7th steps of the 7th path of the Qingyun Dao. Jiang Xi stubbornly passed and persisted for a full 30 days each time. At this point, the trial of the Qingyun Dao had been going on for exactly 5 years. However, after reaching the 7th step, Jiang Xi knew that it was his limit. Not only was the trial getting more and more difficult, but his strength had also reached a certain level. Forget it, let's stop here. He looked at the changes in the experience points panel. Tao of Fire, 15,025/50,000,000, amplitude, 3736. It was a huge improvement. The comprehension of the Tao of Heaven and Earth was divided into 10 levels. According to the conversion of dermic Tao experience, the Tao of Fire had just reached the 3rd realm. With the enhancement of the dermic Tao, the amplitude would also increase. Jiang Xi's spiritual power amplitude had increased by 170 times compared to before the trial of the Qingyun Dao. As for his actual combat strength, it was much more than that. Next, the trial will become more and more difficult. Even if I can continue to improve the Tao of Fire experience, it will only increase by a little. It's difficult to produce a qualitative change in strength. Now, I'll start going all out, charge. Let's see what ranking I can achieve in the end. Jiang Xi's eyes gradually became excited and his blood boiled. The culling shadow sword was also vibrating gently and getting ready to attack. After holding it in for so long, he could finally go all out. He was now ranked 12th in the trial. At the same time, the 2 immortals and the group of Tao integration powerhouses saw Jiang Xi in the illusory space and knew that he was about to really exert his strength. Among the top 20, only Ji Wei, who was in 1st place, and Yan Jiufeng, who was in 2nd place, had made it to the 8th Qingyun Dao. The others had stopped at the 7th Qingyun Dao. As for Riverward, how far could he reach in the end? It's been 5 years and this kid is finally going to go all out. I wonder if he can make it to the 8th Qingyun Dao. Judging from his performance in the recent trials, it's probably going to be difficult. However, it shouldn't be a problem for him to make it to the top 10. Many Tao integration powerhouses made guesses. All the geniuses who had already been eliminated instantly became lively when they heard the words of the Tao integration powerhouse. They couldn't see the scene in the illusory space, so they didn't know the specific situation of Jiang Xi's trial. What a freak. Does he really want to hear me play? Mu Ning shook his head. His final ranking was 7th. If Jiang Xi's ranking was higher than his, then according to the previous bet, he would lose. Our sect master once said that Jiang Xi's strength is at most in the top 300 of the finals. This is too illogical. Looking at the way he's wasting time, he must have made a breakthrough in the middle of the battle and wanted to advance further. I reckon that after these few years, seeing that he hasn't improved much, he doesn't want to persist anymore. No matter what the result is, this is a strong opponent. Even if Jiang Xi fell at this step, he would still be ranked 12th in the trial. There was no doubt about his strength. While the crowd was discussing the matter, Zhi Wei's expression remained indifferent as he sat alone in a corner of the green jade platform. No one dared to approach him. There were also people who wanted to approach him, but they were all frightened by his aura that kept others at arm's length. Zhi Wei only glanced at Jiang Xi's ranking slightly and didn't pay much attention to it. The reason being, even if Jiang Xi exploded, he wouldn't be able to catch up with his results. On the other hand, the young girl in a red dress, Yan Jiufeng, who ranked second in the trial, looked at Jiang Xi's ranking curiously. She wanted to know more about Jiang Xi's strength, such as his Dermic Dao realm, moves, and so on. Unfortunately, when she was collecting information about the opponent previously, she didn't pay much attention to Jiang Xi. Now, she couldn't see the situation of Jiang Xi's trial and could only see the ranking. It seems that he should be a sinister and cunning person. His ranking was so low previously, so he must have hidden a lot of things. Yes, I have to pay attention. If I encounter him in the arena later, I can be on guard in advance, Yan Jiufeng said seriously, which was rare, in the illusory space, the eighth step of the seventh Qingyun Dao. It was a world that resembled purgatory. In the darkness, there were only wisps of pale flames that were constantly jumping. Trial taker, please kill 100 silver yiksha of the demon race within 30 days. All of a sudden, 100 tall figures walked out of the darkness. Each figure had a pair of short silver wings and a pair of silver horns on their foreheads. The pale flames were jumping on their bodies. They were the silver yiksha of the royal bloodline of the demon race. It was a powerful race that made countless human cultivators tremble in fear. As soon as Jiang Xi entered, his aura was raised to the highest and he was ready to fight. Human, die! The 100 silver yiksha roared in unison and attacked Jiang Xi with their white bone tridents. The trial targets of the 7th Qingyun Dao are all equivalent to the geniuses in the top 100 of the finals. These silver yiksha have the royal bloodline of the demon race and are stronger. With that thought in mind, Jiang Xi's sword flashed and countless sword shadows whizzed out. Clang! 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 The silver yiksha waved their tridents and easily blocked the countless sword shadows. In the next moment, they arrived in front of Jiang Xi. The white bone trident, accompanied by terrifying pale flames, was swung up and smashed towards riverward. The surging demonic aura was terrifying. If one's willpower was weak, their mind would be affected. However, Jiang Xi was not afraid. He was determined and his body swayed. Under the Gale domain, his speed reached the extreme and he managed to dodge the ferocious attacks. The sword domain alone is still a little weak. With a thought, Jiang Xi used the sword domain as the core and integrated the leaf fire Dao and Gale domain into it. Countless dark red sword shadows appeared again. Within a radius of 1,000 kilometers, they whistled and raged like a gust of wind. However, this time, the countless sword shadows were not scattered by Jiang Xi. Instead, they suddenly condensed and merged into one sword. Countless sword shadows condensed on the killing shadow sword. The 3 Dao techniques combined and the Dao runes that were emitted were extremely strange, as if they were connected to this space. Roar! Those silver yiksha seemed to have sensed the danger and let out a thunderous roar. The terrifying sound waves swept over 1,000 kilometers. Another wave of demonic chi surged forth. Boom! Under the powerful force, 130,000-foot-long white bone tridents tore through the darkness. They completely covered the position where Jiang Xi was. If he could not block it, he would be directly turned into meat paste. Ha, it's over. Jiang Xi laughed, revealing a strong sense of confidence. After the 3 Dao techniques combined, the power of the sword technique increased tremendously. At the same time, the wind and fire were born together. Under the influence of the leaf fire, his Gale domain was also strengthened. His speed was even faster than before. All of a sudden, Jiang Xi disappeared into the dark space. Only the pale flames could occasionally illuminate his figure. Swoosh! Swoosh! A dark red sword shadow kept flashing in the darkness. Those silver yakshas with demonic aura roared and fell one after another. He passed the 8th step of the 7th Qingyun Dao. He rose to 7th place in the trial. It was worth mentioning that this was the first time Jiang Xi displayed the fusion of Dao techniques in the Qingyun Dao trial. It was the strongest attack. Chapter 326. In the sky above the purple clouds continent. Immortal Liang and Immortal Chuha's eyes lit up. The two of them had seen the battle between Jiang Xi and Mu Ning during the division battles. They knew that Jiang Xi had a Dao technique fusion technique. The fusion of 3 great Dao techniques was Jiang Xi's strongest ability at the moment. He was finally willing to use it at this point in the finals. This little guy's Dao technique fusion technique is even stronger than the last time. It's rare for young people to fuse 3 Dao techniques, but this little guy is getting better and better. Immortal Liang said with a smile. Under normal circumstances, the geniuses who participated in the 9 regions genius battle would basically specialize in one Dao technique because they had less years of cultivation. Very few people could be like Jiang Xi, who not only had 3 decent Dao techniques but could also fuse them together. Although the fusion is still a little uneven, it has the uniqueness of the sword Dao and the nature of the wind and fire. The power of his sword is not inferior to the 6th realm of rare Dao techniques. Immortal Chuha also nodded, which was a rare sight. Their attitudes were relaxed and serious, respectively, as they judged Jiang Xi's strength. At the same time, the Dao integration powerhouses were even more surprised. He can think of a Dao technique fusion technique at such a young age, and his strength has increased so much in an instant. This is interesting. With this technique, he has the strength to compete for the top 10. There was one more contender for the top 10. Wei Sheng was also very surprised. Jiang Xi's performance had refreshed his opinion of him again. In the beginning, he thought that Jiang Xi could enter the top 500 of the finals, then the top 300, and now the top 10. The more surprises, the better. Next, on the 9th step of the 7th Qingyun path, the trial target was 100 powerful Rakshasas from the Ghost clan. However, Jiang Xi used the fusion of 3 great Dao techniques to pass the trial faster than the previous step. The reason was very simple. It was because the Dao of Fire was very effective against the Ghost clan. After that, Jiang Xi did not stop and stepped onto the 8th Qingyun path under everyone's watchful eyes. In the first trial space, there were 100 dragon pythons. Each dragon python exuded a rare Dao aura of the Dao of Heaven and Earth, possessing the strength of the top 20 in the finals. With 100 of them added together, it would be even more powerful. Currently, there were only 2 people who had passed this stage, Ji Wei and Yan Jiufeng. Although Mo Hong, who was ranked 3rd, had made it to this stage, he did not pass it. After that, Jiang Xi's performance in this trial astonished all of the Dao integration stage powerful beings once again. Just now, many Dao integration powerhouses asserted that Jiang Xi could only reach the 9th step of the 7th Qingyun Dao. But now, in the face of Jiang Xi's actual performance, he could only shake his head. This was because Jiang Xi had combined the 3 Daos into one. He had killed all 100 dragon pythons that possessed the rare Dao of Heaven and Earth. After passing this stage, he would be able to make a breakthrough. Jiang Xi's ranking rose to 3rd place. A genius who rose from the bottom all the way to the top 3 hasn't appeared in tens of thousands of years. However, the next stage won't be that easy. The flame giant is a strange life form in the universe and is naturally good at controlling the power of flames. Regardless of whether he passed or not, he's already very strong. If he were in the previous 9 regions genius battles, he would definitely get 1st place in the trial. While the Dao integration powerhouses were surprised, they no longer dared to assert what Jiang Xi's limit was. Then, Jiang Xi ascended to the 2nd trial of the 8th Qingyun Dao. Ji Wei was the only one who passed this stage, and Yan Jiufeng only killed 32 flame giants. Each of the 100 flame giants was 100,000 meters tall and had a ferocious aura like a god fiend. The Tao aura that they exuded was also a rare Tao of heaven and earth. In the face of such a powerful trial target, Jiang Xi was drowned in the sea of fire in just a moment. Soon, he was injured. Not to mention their large size, they're actually so fast too. The explosion of flames gave these flame giants extreme speed. Boom! Jiang Xi rushed out of the sea of fire with blood flowing from the corners of his mouth. His entire body was as red as a piece of fine iron that had been burned red. There were many serious injuries on his body. Have I reached my limit? Then it's the last fight. I'll kill as many as I can. Jiang Xi went berserk. He gave up on defense and fought with all his might. He unleashed his speed and sword techniques to the extreme. In the space of fire, there seemed to be thousands of Jiang Xi. The dark red sword shadows were like a curtain. They kept flashing around the godfiend flame giants. Kill, kill, kill. 10. 20. 30. The Tao integration powerhouses were completely shocked. Jiang Xi's performance was beyond their expectations. In the end, Jiang Xi killed 45 flame giants. He was torn into pieces by the other flame giants and turned into ashes. However, his ranking in the trial had surpassed Yan Jiufeng, who was originally in second place. Jiang Xi's ranking in the trial was fixed at second place. This ranking was spread throughout the 9 regions of the Tao Alliance through the sky connecting mountain and river diagram. The human world remembered Jiang Xi's name. Almost everyone was shocked by Jiang Xi's ranking. There were also many people who cheered for Jiang Xi. In the past 5 years, those who had been paying attention to the 9 regions genius tournament had all heard of him. Everyone knew that Jiang Xi's journey had been arduous and difficult. Step by step, he had never stopped. His ranking had risen little by little every day. In the end, he had risen from the bottom 10 million to the second place. This was too inspiring. Jiang Xi is the glory of the blue planet. He is the glory of the entire blue planet. Wu Kuei, the sect leader of the Zhangyan sect, said excitedly. He had assigned the title of the highest honor on the blue planet to Jiang Xi. I hereby announce that I will choose one of the vital star systems under the jurisdiction of the Zhangyan sect and give it to Jiang Xi. Wu Kuei said at the end. At Daoda Manor. Xian Tian rushed back from the Zhangyan sect and told Jiang Daoda the news. The little girl's eyes lit up when she heard the news. They were rich. A vital star system had tens of thousands of vital stars. It was enough to support the rise and prosperity of a top immortal Tao sect. With this, the Mountain Sea Star trade would have the foundation to soar. The Tao Alliance Heavenly Court was located in the middle of the 9 regions. It occupied a boundless continent that was light years in size. At this moment, in a remote palace in the flowing time palace of the Tao Alliance Heavenly Court. Bai Las, that third brother of yours isn't simple. He actually obtained the second place in the finals. The geniuses in the finals are all chosen from the trillions of people in the 9 regions. Mo Qian was very emotional as he told Li Baibai the news. Li Baibai smiled. Of course. You have to work harder too. You can't fall behind the 3 of you. Otherwise, as your master, I will lose face. Mo Qian smiled. Li Baibai smiled and continued to cultivate. Chapter 327. Soaring Rainbow Planet. In a luxurious palace. Yuan Zhangshua, the manager of Soaring Rainbow Planet. At this moment, he was staring blankly at the sky above Soaring Rainbow Planet, at the skyspan mountain river diagram that covered the sky. On it was the ranking of the 9 regions Genius Battle Qingyun Path Trial. The top 10 names of the trial were all shining with golden light. The second place was Jiang Xi. Even though Yuan Zhangshua was a mid-stage nascent soul cultivator, his body was uncontrollably slumped on the chair in the palace. It's over. It's all over. Because of the conflict between him and Jiang Xi, the news had long spread in Soaring Rainbow sect. Now, because of Jiang Xi's rise in the Nine Regions genius battle, his future in Soaring Rainbow sect was ruined. Soon, an early-stage essence soul elder of Soaring Rainbow sect arrived at the palace. Yuan Zhangshua, the sect master has assigned you to guard the flying hell planet. Leave this place quickly. Yuan Zhangshua shuddered as if he had been struck by lightning. The flying hell planet was the place where Soaring Rainbow sect suppressed criminals. Soaring Rainbow sect controlled hundreds of thousands of planets with life, and all the criminals they wanted were locked up in the flying hell planet. The environment there was extremely harsh, and being sent there was worse than death. However, he could only go. Because now, he did not even have the right to die. On a remote planet of life in the pale blue planet, Patriarch Qing Xian hid in the mortal world, and his current appearance was no different from a mortal youth. After he finished looking at the final ranking change on the Skyspan Mountain River diagram, the blood in his eyes flickered. The bloody light in his eyes pulsed, and then he quickly left this place and disappeared from this planet. Such a genius is no longer someone I can deal with. If he wants to deal with me, he only needs to say a word, and countless forces will help him find my traces. I can't stay in the Nine Regions Tao Alliance any longer. Leave immediately. To the extraterritorial battlefield. With the blood chi spirit fruit, I can use it to help me reach Tao integration through endless slaughter. The youthful patriarch Qing Xian was extremely decisive. He steered the flying ship and kept shuttling through the starry sky outside the Nine Regions Tao Alliance. As for Earth, he still had a glimmer of hope. He was a determined person, and it was difficult for him to give up on something. In the Skyspan Mountain River diagram, Purple Cloud's continent, on a huge green jade platform, Wei Xing's figure flashed and arrived in front of the Five Poisons old freak. The face of the Five Poisons old devil who was still in shock changed, and he hurriedly tried to avoid him. However, he discovered that a power that far surpassed the Tao of heaven and earth had bound him, making him unable to move. High Immortal. The Five Poisons ghost's face was filled with bitterness. One of the two immortals in the starry sky had made a move. Many thanks, exalted immortals. Wei Xing cupped his fists towards Immortal Yi Liang and Immortal Chu He. Then, he smiled at the Five Poisons ghost and said, "Five Poisons, you give me your evaluation. How did Jiang Xi from our Kanglan Star region perform this time?" "Excellent. Excellent." The Five Poisons devil gave a hollow laugh. Phew, the power that bound him had disappeared. The Five Poisons old devil hurriedly flashed to another place, hiding far away. Wei Xing didn't chase after him. He was in a particularly good mood and stroked his curly beard proudly. This was even better than winning a fight. Jiang Xie, that little guy, he got second place in the trial. He sighed. How many years had it been? How many years had it been since the Kanglan Star region had been so proud? This time, not only did Jiang Xi get second place in the trial, but there was also Mu Ning who got seventh place in the trial. One had to know that this trial was a competition of 96 million geniuses from 3,600 star regions. 2 geniuses from the Kanglan Star region had rushed into the top 10 of the trial. This was a record that hadn't been seen in millions or even tens of millions of years. In the starry sky, Immortal Chu He frowned and said seriously, "It's not good to make a move like this. It's against the perfected cultivator's order." Immortal Yi Liang chuckled. "It's just fun. It's no big deal." Whoosh! At this time, Jiang Xi's figure appeared on the green jade platform. Countless gazes instantly converged on him. However, Jiang Xi was frowning and pondering. It's a pity that the flame giant is a natural fire spirit. It's not only capable of controlling fire, but also has a strong resistance to fire attribute Dao techniques like Li fire. Even if I combine 3 Dao techniques, it's difficult for me to fully exert my strength. He thought for a moment and then shook his head. If it weren't for the flame giant in the second stage, he would have been able to make it through more. Then, Jiang Xi found that he had returned to the green jade platform. Jiang Xi, you freak! Mu Ning yelled and came to Jiang Xi. Because Jiang Xi's ranking had soared at the last moment, he was pushed to the 8th place. It should be said that the original top 10, except for Ji Wei, had all been pushed back by 1 place. In the distance, the other young geniuses who ranked at the top of the trial were also looking at Jiang Xi with complicated eyes. Everyone had seen Jiang Xi climb up from the bottom and then stand above them. A strong opponent. This was everyone's unanimous opinion. And many people didn't know the specific information about Jiang Xi's strength. Even if they had collected information about Jiang Xi before, that information was already inaccurate. At that time, the outside world judged that Jiang Xi would be able to enter the top 300 of the finals. Now, Jiang Xi had the strength to compete for the top 10 of the finals. Ji Wei was the only one who only looked at Jiang Xi for a moment before looking away. His strength had already surpassed all the geniuses. As Jiang Xi's Qingyun Dao trial ended, the next round of the finals of the 9 regions genius battle finally began. 96 million geniuses once again formed a square array according to their respective star regions. 3,600 Dao integration powerhouses stood in the air. 2 immortals were looking down at the crowd in the starry sky. Immortal Yi Liang's voice sounded in the starry sky. The first round of the finals of the 9 regions genius battle is over, and the Qingyun Dao trial ranking has also been finalized. Congratulations to those in the first to the 360th place of the trial, you can directly become disciples of the Purple Heaven sect. At this point, he paused and asked in a deep voice, is there anyone who doesn't want to? The geniuses in the top 360 immediately said respectfully, I'm willing. At this point, only a fool would say no. Everyone had come to participate in the 9 regions genius battle organized by the Purple Heaven sect with the intention of becoming a disciple of the Purple Heaven sect. Immortal Yi Liang nodded in satisfaction and then smiled again. Next, the 361st to 13,320 places of the trial will undergo 2 rounds of one-on-one battles to compete for the remaining 3,240 spots. As for the others, I will take back the mark of your entry into the Tongtian Mountain River painting. Your 9 regions genius battle is over. It was over. There was no room for negotiation in the cruel trial. Being eliminated was being eliminated. Almost all of the more than 10 million young geniuses who had been eliminated in this round were indignant and reluctant, but they had no choice but to accept the outcome. Although there would be some luck involved in the first round of the Qingyun Dao trial, at the end of the day, it still depended on one's strength. Chapter 328. Immortal Yi Liang waved his sleeve, and the more than 10 million people who had been eliminated disappeared. There were only 13,320 geniuses left on the empty green jade platform. Now, there are a total of 12,960 people from the 361st to 13,320 in the trial. The winners will enter and the losers will leave. The 6,480 people who won the first round will enter the second round of the arena battles. The remaining 3,240 people can also enter the Purple Heaven sect directly. Immortal Yi Liang's voice sounded again. As his words fell, 6,480 combat arenas appeared on the huge green jade platform, each of which covered an area of tens of thousands of square kilometers. The 12960 people were arranged in the order of the highest ranking and the lowest ranking before being sent to these arenas. Strength was the fairest way to go about things. While the first round of the arena battles was going on, the geniuses who ranked in the top 360 could take a break. Of course, Jiang Xi was the only one who needed to rest, the others had rested for at least a year, however, Jiang Xi didn't take a break in the end. Before the first round of the arena battles began, he and Mu Ning were called aside by Wei Sheng. The Tao integration powerhouse wanted to give the two geniuses some pointers in person. In a while, Jiang Xi and Mu Ning would be participating in the third round of the arena battles. The two of you did very well. One of you ranked second and the other ranked 8th. This is a record that hasn't been broken in the Pale Blue Star region for millions of years, Wei Xing said with a satisfied smile. Thank you for the compliment, Lord. However, Wei Xing suddenly changed the topic. He said sternly, do you think you can definitely make it to the top 10 in the arena battles? Jiang Xi and Mu Ning shook their heads. As long as you don't get cocky, I can tell you clearly. Getting into the top 10 of the trial doesn't mean that you can get into the top 10 of the finals in the arena battles. A cold smile appeared on Wei Xing's rugged face. He continued. As far as I know, there are many geniuses who can compete for the top 10 in the finals this time, but they didn't rank high in the trial. It's because their Dermic Dao is not suitable for the Qingyun Dao trial. For example, Lin Ling, ranked 30th, and Li Xianxian, ranked 366th, both cultivate rare Daos of heaven and earth. One is the Dao of puppetry, the other is the Dao of charm. Moreover, both of them have already attained the 6th level. If it's a one-on-one situation, you can't guarantee that you'll win. Therefore, a low ranking in the trial doesn't mean that one's actual combat strength is weak. Wei Xing poured cold water on him mercilessly. The faces of Jiang Xi and Mu Ning both turned grave. If that was the case, the competition in the arena battles would be even more intense. The rare Dao of heaven and earth had reached the 6th level. In terms of Dao power, it had already surpassed a complete ordinary Dao of heaven and earth. Many late-stage essence soul cultivators did not have such a Dermic Dao realm. Furthermore, the Dao of puppetry and the Dao of charm were mostly strange and notoriously difficult to deal with. A smile appeared on Wei Xing's face again when he saw the two little fellows' serious expressions. After pouring cold water on him, he naturally had to give him some motivation. He laughed. Therefore, I hope that the two of you will not slack off and give your all in the upcoming arena battles. Unleash your full strength and strive to enter the top 10 of the finals. The Purple Heavens sect has 9 levels of heaven. As long as you enter the top 10, you can become a disciple of the 3rd level of heaven. At that time, you'll have a meteoric rise. Mu Ning was a little confused. She had never heard of the Purple Heavens sect's 9 levels of heaven. Sir, is there no chance of entering the 4th level of heaven? Jiang Xi asked with a frown. The 4th level of heaven? It's good that you have this idea. Wei Xing laughed. Then he said, unfortunately, in the previous 9 regions' genius battles, as long as it was hosted by the Purple Heaven sect, only one person can enter the 4th level of heaven. And this time, Jiwei's strength far surpasses all of you. This spot has already been reserved by him. The existence of the Purple Heaven sect's 9 levels of heaven was not a secret. Wei Xing did not doubt that Jiang Xi knew this. Only one person. Jiang Xi frowned slightly. Of course, there was detailed information about the Purple Heaven sect in the inherited memories that his master, Daoist Gu, had given him. In addition to controlling the huge Purple Heaven territory, the Purple Heaven sect also had 9 grotto heavens in the core area of the sect, called the 9 levels of heaven. These 9 grotto heavens were not small grotto heavens opened by essence soul or Dao integration powerhouses. Each of them was incomparably huge, covering a vast continent with an area of light years. The 1st level of heaven to the 4th level of heaven were the cultivation residences of countless disciples of the Purple Heaven sect. The 5th level of heaven to the 9th level of heaven were the cave residences of the sect's experts. In the Purple Heaven sect, everyone below the immortal realm was a disciple. And the 5th level of heaven was the cave residences of the Purple Heaven sect's tribulation transcender powerhouses. In other words, the 4th level of heaven was the highest position that the disciples of the Purple Heaven sect could reach before they became immortals. Those who could enter were all the top geniuses of the universe. Even a disciple of the 4th level of nascent soul stage could be compared to a Dao integration powerhouse. Jiang Xi originally thought that after his strength improved this time, he would try to enter the 4th level of heaven of the Purple Heaven sect. If he could enter, the risk of him returning the Purple Heaven Sword Sutra would be greatly reduced. When Wei Sheng saw that Jiang Xi and Mu Ning were silent, he thought that the two young people were both disappointed that they couldn't enter the 4th level of heaven. He sighed softly in his heart and smiled. It's already very good to be able to enter the 3rd level of heaven. You have to know that there are many Tao integration cultivators in the Purple Heaven sect who are cultivating in the 1st level of heaven. If you can enter the 3rd level of heaven, it will be easy for you to reach the Tao integration stage in the future. After Wei Xing said that, he floated away without explaining too much and let the two young people slowly digest it. However, the two of them didn't feel disappointed at all. As soon as he left, Mu Ning was full of curiosity and asked Jiang Xi about the Purple Heaven 9th heaven. Jiang Xi didn't hide it either. Anyway, when Mu Ning entered the Purple Heaven sect, he would also find out about it at the same time. The first round of the arena battles of the 12,960 people began. Such a one-on-one battle was much more exciting than the Qingyun Dao trial. It was all based on strength. The winner advanced while the loser retreated. The group of geniuses used their strongest means and none of them dared to hold back. The battle was very exciting and various dermic Dao attacks were accompanied by powerful spiritual power that continuously erupted in the arena. The reason being, everyone did not hold back and used their strongest means. They were all aiming to kill each other. Soon, the first round of the arena battles ended. The 6,480 people who won continued to participate in the second round of the arena battles. The top 360 geniuses of the Qingyun Dao trial were all watching these battles carefully. The reason being, there might be some of their opponents among the victors. It was now an excellent opportunity to understand their opponents. Jiang Xi observed the battles in the arena. On the other hand, he secretly opened the experience points panel to check. There were no changes in his cultivation level, dermic Dao, and so on. The main thing was the balance of his experience points. He had also obtained a large amount of experience points through the Qingyun Dao trial. Experience points, 123,548 million, the balance had exceeded 1 billion again. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.